down with my light. For every moment shared with you along the day. You never fully grow, going to be back again. Until the coming of the dawn.
Hello. Hello, Isabel. What's going on?
Tears meet I've seen it. Nothing comes between us. Dancing like ballerinas under the moonlight all night long. How these plain and simple seems like made so vividly by you.
Just cleaning up. Just cleaning up.
Whenever our minds meet, you know you leave me in a trance.
Just cleaning up for the animation.
Looking down below, I'll always seem to find, no matter where you
Might go.
remember you'll be on my mind.
How's your day going? How's things going?
Within the inner heart of me, for you to talk to me. I wanna hear all the good and bad, the new stories you had. As I drift across the sky,
Oh, pretty
the
good.
hour hand turns
Could be better, but
so good night.
not complaining either.
Let me sing
I'll be singing maybe. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're incredibly right on that. I ate too much. Hey, sad boy, what's going on? How are you doing, bro? Pretty good. Just doing my thing right now. I want to finish this today as much as I can. I don't know if I'm going to actually color this, to be honest. I think it might save me more time. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to put shade on this. I'm going to do that thing like a lot of anime's been doing, where they don't put shade on the animation at all. It'll just save me so much more time. I don't want to do all that shading process. best this is copyright free. Figure that out last night. That's what I was testing. Oh, the hand here needs to be. Are you making some emails? No, I'm doing animation. Why is it not reading your shit in my ear? Hold on. Why is it not reading? It's like, like TikTok is just doing the most for just to piss me off as much as possible. I don't know what's going on with that. Because I'm hated by the Chinese spy. I think the spy hates me too because obviously it's been like nothing but horrible experience with TikTok. It's just left and right. And I can't figure out why people can't get notifications from me. Maybe because I'm not part of an MCN. That's probably why. Hello, Artista, what's going on? Oh, there you go. Our spy saved us. Now it's reading in my ear now. Hello. It's alright. I'm perfectly fine. Thank you. Thank you. You being here is just enough. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, like that. Okay. Did you know? Nice sketch, bro. I'm glad you did. Got my notebooks, bro. Hold on, let me just clean this up a little bit. I think I'm going to eat more. Gotcha. I'm going to eat more. That normal sketchbook's easy. Did you fill the whole page though? Have you ever filled the whole page? That's the question. Hello, Art Matrix. What's going on? Anyone could draw like this. You just have to practice. Just gotta subscribe to the YouTube. You get always notifications when I'm on. Hello. I think I'm gonna eat more. Hello. Hey, XR. What's going on? How's life going, my dude? That egg roll, bro. Making me hungry. Egg roll's like one of my favorite things to eat. Hello. Yes. Yeah. What? Let me hear this. Yee. Let's go. Oh my god, is this an orchestrated version of Den Den? It's alright. I disconnected and then I use sheets of paper for the full drawing. Okay, and egg roll. Another day for art. Let's do it. Hello. It looks alright. This is a celebration for my milestone that I reached, both on TikTok and YouTube. Yep. Hello. Walt Disney. Funny. Not yet. First, I know how to do some actual. I have to actually know how to do animation first. redesign my character, my YouTube model. I might do that later on in time. I really have to do that. That was interesting. Not bad, but interesting nonetheless. I wish I knew how to animate just as much. That could be better and all that great stuff, so let me see. Are those the only ones I have? Ooh, wait. I haven't heard this song in a while. Okay, there we go. Clean up in here. All right, so the head, the ear. I got you, Carrot. I got you. Have you learned how to make the lines consistent? Because that's my biggest problem. Okay, so the hairs. Okay. I got you. I was just wondering. XR, you can do all. I'll do evil. Ha 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 ha. It's in the, if you're looking how to do that, it's in the, what are you looking for? It's right here, the right hand corner bottom where it looks like a, what do you call it? A purse or some type of shopping cart. If that's what you're looking for. Yep. Yeah, this is like a suitcase or a shopping bag if you're wondering all the stuff I use. Both traditional and digital. Hello. Thank you for the follow. Like that. Okay. Clean this up like that. These eyebrows. Like that. Bring the nose down a little bit more. Oh, bring the nose down a little bit more. A lot more cleaner than it was before. Excuse me. The arm is a little too long, but we'll fix that. Like this. Thank you. That was from A Promised Neverland. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then we'll put it right about here. Alright. First, let me get this here. Okay, and then erase this. Put some light in here. Okay, like that. Cat. Kitty cat. Hello. Aw. Gosh. Let's do your paint. Nope, not playing no more. Okay, do your thing, Nick. Do your thing. Nicole. Okay, we're done here. Okay. Clean up a little bit more. Beauty sleep. Sleeping time, boy. Okay. All right, put it right here, and then place it here, and put like that. Okay, there we go. All right. Could be better. What if I grab it and then just twist it like this? I can probably make that work. All right, now I gotta do the other one. Okay. No. I gotta make some changes definitely to this. Okay. First thing, the head is not the same. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Rick? What's going on, bro? I'm just finding the next song. Okay, let's go here. Let me see. I don't think so. I don't know if I can find that. I click on this, but do I get the other one? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Again, because this is not looking right. So first thing, let me see if I can do something real quick. Tearing her hand up. Okay, there we go. So we're going to use that. Well, that's not exact. You got more exact. It's alright. It's okay. Okay, there we go. Now, what we need to do is grab this head. I need to look at techniques on how to keep it consistent. Working out. How do you make it consistent? Wait a minute, where is it? Hold on 1 second.
Animation drawings consistent and solid throughout the shot? What if I told you it's not just about talent, but
Giving
it's
you
also
some
about
context.
some
We're doing
methods and
animation.
techniques that you can use too, and that can hopefully make the process easier for you. And yes, these are techniques
Trying to
used by
figure out how to do this
professionals too.
do this animation on my own. Trying to do this animation.
Hey guys, it's XPPen, and today I'd like to talk about keeping your animation solid and consistent throughout. And in this video, I'm really just going to be talking about 2D animation. This is a topic that's been heavily requested, and these are tips and techniques that are derived from actual traditional animation practices and how you can transition those techniques into the digital workspace. But before I get into technique and methodology, I have 3 top advice I'd like to share before getting into solid and consistent drawing. Number 1 is to learn how to break down complex shapes into simple primitives such as cubes and spheres. Having a solid foundation is important before you add any accessories that add more detail to the design. So once you have your solid primitives, you can just add those on top of your solid primitives later on a second pass, for example. This is because in animation, you're going to be doing a lot of drawings of that character, and you have to learn how to break down that character into simpler shapes. Number 2 is to think about how solid objects work in spatial depth. So when an object rotates, for example, there are some spacing rules that you have to think about to maintain its solid form. Spacing can help describe things such as slow in and slow out, how fast an object accelerates, how fast an object decelerates, and whether there's constant speed or not.
I'll redo
Spacing is one of the most important ingredients when it comes to having smooth animation, and even choppy animation can read off as smooth if they're spaced really well. But how does this relate to solid drawing? Well, imagine having a character's head rotate around just right in front of you. And let's say this character has a big nose or big snout. If we were to switch to a top-down point of view, then that character's head would rotate as if it was looking like a clock. Now if we were to switch to our normal view and track the nose, for example, while tracking the clock view, you'll notice the nose kind of has a slow in and slow out from our point of view. But in the clock view, it's a constant ongoing speed. Another thing I'd like to bring up is how the 3/4 view has its nose somewhat similar to the side view. This is because the protruding part of the object covers a lot of spatial information, especially that protruding part going closer to the sides of our point of view. If we were just to in between a front view and a side view without thinking of the spatial information, things like the nose or snout shrinking will happen. So really think about seeing your objects in different perspectives. Another thing that I forgot to bring up is to really utilize your arcs. This is another thing that a lot of beginner animators miss out on, and if you don't pay attention to your arcs, especially if you have something rotating, and if you just have point A to point B just moving straight without paying attention to the arcs, things will shrink, like I showed in this demo. The last tip I have is just to work on your solid drawing skills, so keep drawing, keep practicing your draftsmanship, practice drawing form, and practice staying consistent with that form. And really, the only way to get better at this is to keep doing it and to keep practicing. Now let's talk about techniques and how to keep your animation solid and consistent. So method and technique number 1, the shift and trace, also known as the place and trace. This is a traditional animation technique. It's where an animator takes a drawing off their animation peg, shuffles it and manipulates it so it matches the angle of the drawing you want to add more consistency. This is also to make an animator's job easier to make an in-between of a head turning, even though the head is at different places of the paper. You can still keep the design to proportions much more consistent when you're just focused on in-betweening the head at a fixed position. So while flipping back and forth is great for feeling out the movement in the drawing, for consistency-wise, there are techniques that can make things easier. So because I don't have an animation desk or light table with me right now, I'll show this technique with Photoshop. a software that's definitely not recommended for animation. Now, because I don't have a setup, an animation desk, or light table, I'm going to have to show this example digitally and how traditional animators utilize the shift and trace. So this is my first drawing. So imagine this whole thing is a paper. This is drawing A, the character's about to swing a crowbar. And in drawing B, the character already swings the crowbar. And right now, I'm just going to quickly tie down drawing A so I have a more solid drawing. Here's my tie down for pose A or drawing A. Even though it's still sort of rough and loose, I can still define and read what my shapes are and the form behind the character. And now I want to apply the same thing with drawing B during my tie down. And drawing B, you know, super rough. And how do I keep this consistent with drawing A? And the way place and trace or shift and trace works is that you take a drawing off the animation peg and you align it to your next drawing that you want to make it more solid. So before I even apply place and trace, I want to just make a placeholder for how I want to align my drawings. It's still very loose, it's still very rough, and what you want to practice doing is try and make the drawing that you want to solidify. Try and flip between your drawings back and forth. This is why I encourage flipping, is so that you can feel it out and really try to feel it out. And you can do this on the same rough drawing, but with digital, what's great about that is you can make a new layer and just draw on top of your rough. And that's the beauty of digital medium. In traditional animation, some animators animate in red color rays. Normally it looks more, you know, light when you're actually working with it, but when you shoot it for a pencil test, it's just as dark as pencil lines. And usually for a first pass, traditional animators use color rays, so they can still animate rough and then draw their tie down on the same drawing. But with digital, you know, you can have more layers on top of layers to do that. So notice how I'm just you know, roughly defining. This is where I think the head will go. This is how I think the shapes will look like. Just a rough, and okay, maybe that's enough for now, and maybe I can just use that as my placeholder.
Use that as an example.
So now I'm going to utilize place and trace, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take drawing A off its pegs, and I'm going to turn the light table or turn the opacity down. Take it, you know, take drawing A off the pegs and align it to the drawing I want to tie down. So, you know, rotate your paper or rotate your drawing, and then just try and make it fit the angle of your next drawing. And I'm just going to hide my rough because I'm just going to focus on the head for this case. And now that I'm seeing the head, now I have a placeholder for my character. It's like, okay, I can see the glasses. The glasses are shaped like that, and it's instead of just like trying to eyeball it all the way, now the drawing is much closer to what I have. And I can start defining, okay, then there's, I can define the side of the head. And I'm going to make sure, okay, the hairline is here, and I'm going to keep
too much trying to figure that
alone. The mustache, notice I'm thinking, okay, there's more information on the top of the head, so this is going to be bigger, and this is going to be smaller, because the chin is actually going away from us, so that's going to help us a lot. But because I have my drawing A as a guide, I can actually use that as a placeholder in how I want to draw out my shapes.
Oh, thank you for the hot cocoa. Really I appreciate it. I didn't even see that, much as hear it.
And I wish I can hear it. Okay, I'm just eyeballing where the eyebrows are. And these
thank you for the hot cocoa. Hope you didn't think I was being ungrateful and not noticing. I just now noticed it.
Maybe the head,
sorry about that.
And there's more information on his hair. Right? Alright, so now I can take my I can just finish the shapes. I feel like the body isn't as important for me more than the head. But if you want to keep the body consistent with the proportions and the design, then you can adjust your drawing A. You can take it off the pegs again and angle it to your torso.
Close the door.
And now I realize, oh, actually, it's much bigger than what I initially planned. and then I can go back and really define the shape. And I'm just gonna rough it out quickly. You can even just like use the place and trace as just to make a rough placeholder, and how you guys can use it to be, and how you guys can use it to make more consistent looking drawings for your animation. How to keep proportions throughout your drawings. So here's my tie down of drawing A and my tie down of drawing B. I made a breakdown for both of these drawings, which is this drawing over here. Here's him about to swing. He swings and he's finished swinging. And now I want to make my breakdown as consistent and as solid as drawing A and drawing B. Now there are two options that I could do or talk about from here. I could try and angle my two drawings from here and here and try and make it match the angle here. Or I can tell myself, you know what? I'm just going to act the head as if it was just in between, the two drawings normally. So I'm going to do the first example first. So what I can do, and I'm just going to grab my first drawing over here. So this is drawing A, and I can just like move that over here, you know, adjust the opacity.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Then I can grab my drawing B, and I'm just going to adjust it so I can make sure it matches the middle. Try and keep everything as a midpoint. So this is just one example of how you can do it from here. And honestly, I'll just hide my rough drawing, and I'm just going to make a new drawing using these two drawings, only these two drawings. So my in-between, I'm just going to treat the head as a normal in-between. So now I'm just looking at both of the heads for these drawings, and now I'm using place and trace to define what the head drawing will look like using these two as references.
Right.
What I did is that I'm in-betweening normally how I usually do, but what I did with place and trace is that I made it easier for myself. Instead of trying to eyeball between two big major poses, I wanted to hyper-focus on just the head and make sure that everything is as close as possible for me to in-between. And I can always snap back my drawings back into place, or you can make a duplicate of that drawing.
Doing it.
And see, notice how I'm using
There must be another way of doing that much
my
easier.
two drawings, so I can see, oh, that's the nose from the first drawing A, and that's the nose from drawing B. And I'm just making rough in-betweens from here and just trying to get the importance from there. And even though the spacing is a bit big, it's at least easier for me to track it compared to trying to track two drawings that are at opposite ends of the page. And I can always fix it later on when I do flip it. And, you know, when I flip it, I can always see, oh, there are some issues here and there. But, yeah, with place and trace, it just makes things a bit more easier. Because, let's say, okay, I'm gonna save it from there. And let's say I put back my drawings back into their place. And if I flip back and forth, the heads are a bit more consistent. And I didn't really have to keep flipping back and forth between this and this. Between this and this, so I can get this drawing. What I did was just move the head from here, and just move it in the center so I could use that as a reference for here. So that's one way of doing the in-between for place and trace. And I'll show you another way that's doing this with the same drawings. But what if I just want to keep the angle of my breakdown drawing rather than just a direct in-between? Well, what you can do is you can grab your first drawing, so drawing A, I'm just using drawing A as an example. And what you can do is try and make it match the angle of your breakdown or in between. So I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to just try and make sure it fits that. I'm not going to try and change the size or anything like that because I think that will make it even more troublesome. And then I can grab my second drawing and also rotate the angles. So it fits the angle of that, and at the same time, when you're angles, it makes things so much easier for the in-between work.
But now I can just.
So let's say, you know, I'll just hide my rough drawing for now, and I just want to focus on the head. So I'm just going to turn down the opacity for both of these drawings and adjust it so I can see them better. And then I can make an in-between from here using the angle that I had in my rough. And notice how it's so much easier for me because I've made the heads kind of merge into one. I tried my best to make it merge into one. Instead of the first example where I moved it simply, I actually rotated the drawings for this case. kind of like I did for the very first example with place and trace, where I did have to rotate the head. And notice how just by rotating the head, it's again like I'm having a much lighter and easier time just trying to in between things. I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. I can just eyeball it and it can still look closer. Like everything will be in proportion when I put all these drawings back into where they should be. And you know, keep in mind of form and shape, things that are protruding like noses or things that are at the edge of a shape will have a lot more spacing.
It's like a shape, huh?
Like what I mean is the nose, because the nose is much more protruded, it's gonna be a bit more out. It's gonna favor more of the last drawing where it's more sideways. And then I can put my drawings back where they belong, and I'm gonna do that. And if I flip back and forth, at least I have something to work with, and I can go back and go, okay, you know, I can see, oh, okay, by flipping back and forth, there we go. So no matter what, you might also want to consider flipping back and forth, but at least it's consistent with the proportions and everything else and where everything should be. So then I can grab my rough drawings.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to do place and trace with the body again, then I can grab my last drawing, turn down opacity, rotate it so it fits the angle of my breakdown. Same with my first drawing. My first key pose is I can angle it and turn down the opacity and make sure it fits the angle.
So
and
wait.
Now I have something to work with in terms
Go back.
Of because I can what it makes me and then I make take it just rough and then draw darkest pencil lines and drawing being, you know, now imagine this position. So while flipping back and forth is
learning
great
a
for
technique.
feeling out the movement in the drawing, for consistency wise, there are techniques that can make things easier. So because I don't have an animation desk or a light table with me right now, I'll show this technique with Photoshop, a software that's definitely not recommended for animation. Now, because I don't have a setup, an animation desk, or light table, I'm going to have to show this example digitally and how traditional animators utilize to shift and trace. So this is my first drawing. So imagine this whole thing is a paper. This is drawing A, the character's about to swing a crowbar. And then drawing B, the character already swings the crowbar. And right now, I'm just going to quickly tie down drawing A so I have a more solid drawing. Here's my tie down for pose A or drawing A.
So this is pose A for right now. Okay. Right. Okay. Pose A. Actually, we're not supposed to go this way. Okay. And then we'll go pose B, be next. So this A. Thank you. Yeah, make B.
Even though it's still sort of rough and loose, I can still define and read what my shapes are and the form behind the character. And now I want to apply the same thing with drawing B during my tie down. And drawing B, you know, super rough. And how do I keep this consistent with drawing A? And the way place and trace or shift and trace works is that you take a drawing off the animation peg and you align it to your next drawing that you want to make it more solid. So before I even apply place and trace, I want to just make a placeholder for how I want to
Okay, so this is pose A.
Very loose, it's still very rough.
Let's get rid of this. This is not necessary anymore. What is this? This I don't want this either. Right? And then get rid of this too. No distractions, no extra stuff. This is going to be pose B. Because based on the Sonic drawing here, it's supposed to go a spin move here. So we need to get that spin move from this point. So move. Hey. Move. All right, so this is the initial pose B for right now. I want to say pose B because like we're supposed to get to. Ultimately, we're supposed to get all the way to this point. But so let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Grab this. Make it small. Right. And then, okay, this goes here up to here. Okay. So I want, actually, we need to get the point P. Okay. Like that, and then, man, they're so fucking loud. Let me see here. So. Maybe it would be the best version of it. Maybe get rid of this. Get rid of this. This is probably a better version of that anyway. No, this is the better version. They're loud. You gotta tell them to shut the fuck up.
I keep telling them to shut up. You have my phone?
Do I have your phone?
Yeah.
No.
You know?
No, it's on the floor, I think.
Oh, where?
Hold on. So it's right here.
Really right next to your hand.
So it's
Bryce changed his profile picture. I like it.
I'll say about here. I'm gonna say it's about here. Small, I think, but there it seems kind of consistent there.
And what you want to practice doing is try and make the drawing that you want to solidify. Try and flip between your drawings back and forth. This is why I encourage flipping, is so that you can feel it out and really, really try to feel it out. And you can do this on the same rough drawing, but with digital, what's great about that is you can make a new layer and just draw on top of your rough. And that's the beauty of digital medium. In traditional animation, some animators animate in red color rays. Normally it looks more, light when you're actually working with it, but when you shoot it for a pencil test, it's just as dark as pencil lines. And usually for a first pass, traditional animators use color rays, so they can still animate rough and then draw their title on the same drawing. But with digital, you can have more layers on top of layers to do that. So notice how I'm just roughly defining. This is where I think the head will go. This is how I think the shapes will look like. Just a rough, and okay, maybe that's enough for now, and maybe I can just use that as my placeholder. So now I'm going to utilize place and trace, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take drawing A off its pegs, and I'm going to turn the light table or turn the opacity down, take it, take drawing A off
It's
the
going
pegs
the way it
and align
should.
it to
It
the
is.
drawing
I can't even tell
tie
you.
down. So rotate your paper or rotate your drawing, and then just try and make it fit the angle of your next drawing. And I'm just going to hide my rough because I'm just going to focus on the head for this case. And now that I'm seeing the head, now I have a placeholder for my character. It's like, okay, I can see the glasses. The glasses are shaped like that, and it's instead of just like trying to eyeball it all the way, now the drawing is much closer to what I have. And I can start defining, okay, then there's, I can define more the side of the head, and I'm going to make sure, okay, the hairline is here, and I'm going to keep it consistent to that. The mustache, notice I'm thinking, okay, there's more information on the top of the head, so this is going to be bigger, and this is going to be smaller, because the chin is actually going away from us. So
Okay, then wait. I'm going to grab this, put it here. Like that. Yeah, try and keep it consistent. So, okay. Uh, okay. I'm gonna think of it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit more air on there. Like, so it'd be like 1, 2, 3. That's good. Okay, I can kind of see it now. So it's like, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Good. Good, 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 good. Get that sketchbook. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. It feels quite right now. So it's like 1, 2, 3. I think that's it. There'll be some in between. There's gonna be somewhere in there between all of them, but okay. So 1. Okay. Like this. I don't know. I don't know.
Help us a lot.
Pretty sure
But
it's gonna be
because I
long.
have my
I
drawing
have no
A as a
idea.
guide, I can actually use that as
I have no
a
idea.
placeholder in how I want to draw out my shapes. And really trying to find your shapes and just seeing it. Okay,
I'm thinking
I'm
5
just
seconds.
eyeballing where the eyebrows are. And these drawings can always be fixed later on.
That's about,
I think because there's more information in the head, maybe the
1,
the hairline
2,
goes a
3,
bit, and there's
3,
more information
4,
on his
5.
hair,
5.
right? All right, so now I can take my drawing A off. So if I were
By
to
what people?
restack all my drawings back to where they should be, drawing A, drawing B, drawing A, drawing B, and now I have something to work with for the solid drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And
5
here,
frames, but I don't know. I'm
I can
gonna
just
probably have to double
finish
that by 10.
shapes. I feel like the body isn't as important for me more than the head, but if you want to keep the body consistent with the proportions and the design, then you can adjust your drawing A. You can take it off the pegs again and angle it to your torso, and now I realize, oh, actually, it's much bigger than what I initially planned, and then I can go back and really define the shape. And I'm just gonna rough it out quickly. You can even just like use the place and trace as just to make a rough placeholder, and how you guys can use it to make more consistent looking drawings for your animation. How to keep proportions throughout your drawings. So here's my tie down of drawing A and my tie down of drawing B. I made a breakdown for both of these drawings, which is this drawing over here. Here's him about to swing. He swings and he's finished swinging. And now I want to make my breakdown as consistent and as solid as drawing A and drawing B. Now, there are two options that I could do or talk about from here. I could try and angle my two drawings from here and here, and try and make it match the angle here. Or I can tell myself, you know what? I'm just going to act the head as if it was just in between the two drawings normally. So I'm going to do the first example first. So what I can do, and I'm just going to grab my first drawing over here. So this is drawing A, and I can just like move that over here, you know, adjust the opacity. Then I can grab my drawing B, and I'm just going to adjust it so I can just make sure it matches the middle. Try and keep everything as a midpoint. So this is just one example of how you can do it from here. And honestly, I'll just hide my rough drawing, and I'm just gonna make a new drawing using these.
They're never hiring.
Two drawings, only
They
these
will
two
never
drawings,
hire
so my
someone like
in-between,
me.
I'm just gonna treat the head as a normal in-between. So now I'm just looking at both of the heads for these drawings, and now I'm using place and trace to define what the head drawing will look like using these two as references. What I did is that I'm in betweening normally how I usually do, but what I did with place and trace is that I made it easier for myself. Instead of trying to eyeball between two big major poses, I wanted to hyper focus on just the head and make sure that everything is as close as possible for me to in between. And I can always snap back my drawings back into place, or you can make a duplicate.
I'm pretty sure there.
Drawing. And see, notice
No
how I'm
question
using,
on that, given how well the movie did.
So I can see, oh, that's the nose from the first drawing A, and that's the nose from
I
drawing B.
am doing an animation for my
in-betweens
celebration
from
of my
here and
milestone
just trying to get
goal.
the importance from there. And even though the spacing is a bit big, it's at least easier for me to track it compared to trying to track two drawings that are
Watch out for me.
at opposite ends of the page.
Gotcha.
And I can always fix it later on when I do flip it. And, you know, when I flip it, I can always see, there are some issues here and there. But, yeah, with place and trace, it just makes things a bit more easier. Because, let's say, okay, I'm gonna save it from there. And let's say I put back my drawings back into their place. And if I flip back and forth, the heads are a bit more consistent. And I didn't really have to keep flipping back and forth between this and this. Between this and this, so I can get this drawing. What I did was just move the head from here, and just move it into center so I could use that as a reference for here. So that's one way of doing the in-between for place and trace. And I'll show you another way that's doing this with the same drawings.
Yeah, I know.
But what if I just want to keep the angle of my breakdown drawing rather than just a direct in-between? Well, what you can do is you can grab your first drawing, so drawing A, I'm just using drawing A as an example. And what you can do is try and make it match the angle of your breakdown or in between. So I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to just try and make sure it fits that. I'm not going to try and change the size or anything like that because I think that will make it even more troublesome. And then I can grab my second drawing and also rotate the angles.
Doing pretty good.
So it fits
I think.
the angle of that. And at the same time, when you're adjusting angles, it makes things so much easier for the in-between work. So let's say, I'll just hide my rough drawing for now. And I just want to focus on the head. So I'm just going to turn down the opacity for both of these drawings.
Hello.
And adjust it so I can see them
well.
And then I can make an in-between from here using the angle that I had in my rough. And notice how it's so much easier for me because I've made the heads kind of merge into one. I tried my best to make it merge into one. Instead of the first example where I just moved it simply, I actually rotated the drawings for this case. Kind of like I did for the very first example with place and trace where I did have to rotate the head. And notice how just by rotating the head, it's again like I'm having a much lighter and easier time just trying to in between things. I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. I can just eyeball it and it can still look closer.
It's all good, right?
Like
as you're trying to learn.
When I
I'm learning as I go here. I'm listening to what he's saying and I'm trying to watch it, but I'm trying to
and keep in mind of form.
I'm just doing like 7 things at once
that are protruding like noses or things that are at the edge of a shape will have a lot more spacing. Like, what I mean is the nose, because the nose is much more protruded, it's gonna be a bit more out. It's gonna favor more of the the last drawing where it's more sideways. And then I can put my drawings
That winter
back
break,
where they
bro.
belong. And I'm gonna do that. And if I flip back and forth, at least I have something to work with. And I can go back and go, okay, you know, I can see, oh, okay, by flipping back and forth, there we go. So no matter what, you might also
like
want to consider flipping back and forth. But at least it's consistent with the proportions and everything else and where everything should be. So then I can grab my rough drawings. Like if I wanted to place a trace with the body again, then I can grab my last drawing, turn down opacity, rotate it so it fits the angle of
That's a lot.
my breakdown.
The hell?
Same with my first drawing. My first key pose is I can angle it and turn down the
I'm not gonna
opacity
say you
to make
won't
sure it
survive
fits
it.
the
It just
angle.
sounds like it'll be extremely hard to survive.
And now I have something to work with in terms of wanting to retain the proportions.
That's kind of harsh.
So I can say, oh, I can still sort of see the rough, and I can see the body is around here, and that's where it should stop. And I can
You sure you should be in here? Should you be studying like your ass off? 4 exams in the same week?
More proportionally consistent to my next drawings. So that's
harsh.
an example of place and trace.
For like no reason.
Whatever I did here in Photoshop can be achieved in any other software. What I did was just treated the whole process as if it was like on paper, where I just rotated drawings here and there. But other hand-drawn animation softwares have an approach in how you can achieve the whole shift and trace technique. TVPaint has a really great way of approaching the shift and place technique. The way they implemented this technique in TVPaint is that you can actually adjust and manipulate your onion skins or light table. So by using the light table option, you can actually grab the onion skin drawings of your previous and next frames and rotate them and manipulate them however you want. The great thing about this is that it doesn't actually affect the finished drawing or the frames itself. And what's great is that it's still
English
very easy to
and
flip
language
between
goes
your
kind of
drawings.
hand in hand.
If just relying on the light table or onion skinning gets a little bit too tricky. What's great about the TVPaint place and trace option is that not only can you rotate and move around your onion skin drawings, but you can also change the size. So for example, characters walking towards us from the background to the foreground. It's easier to keep track of the faces if you're just focusing on manipulating those onion skin drawings of the face to match the size and the proportion of the character depending on where that character is. Let's look at Toon Boom Harmony. They have their own way of approaching shift and trace too. To me, it's a little more tricky than TVPaint's simpler approach, but I feel like Toon Boom really thought more about the animator and how, to me, it does feel a bit more traditional. Toon Boom has another window or tab called Drawings, and think of it as a virtual desk or another desk in your room where you can just place and send your drawings to. In Toon Boom, you can send your animation drawings to the Drawing tab or this virtual desk, and you can edit the drawing without affecting the timeline at all. But what's great about this tab is that it does allow for shift and trace techniques where you can actually edit the orientation of the drawing, whether it's rotation or transformation, and adjust it to your drawing that you want to make consistent. What's great about this option is that you can choose which drawings you want to place and trace. So if you have a drawing at the end of the animation, but you have a drawing that you want to use as reference that's somewhere in the middle of the animation, then you can send that drawing specifically to this window and make a new drawing in this same window, and then place that new drawing into your actual animation timeline. Now, when I use Adobe Animate or Flash, the thing with Flash is that it wasn't really made with the traditional animator in mind. It's made for people who are into the multimedia scene or into symbol-based animation, meaning that there's a library you can reuse of mouth shapes, head shapes, poses, etc. I feel like Adobe Animate or Flash's library system is great because it's simple and easy to understand, and you can reuse drawings that you've made in the past again and again without having to do any weird complex stuff like some programs. But the way I do shift and trace in Flash is that I turn drawings that I want to use as my placeholders as symbols, and then with symbols you can adjust the opacity, the color, how bright it is, and you can lay them on in different layers in your animation. And in using those layers, I would adjust my drawings to match the angle of the actual character's animation. And on top of the character animation, I'll make my in-between using my laid out drawings as reference for the in-between. So Flash or Adobe Animate is probably the closest thing in how I did it in Adobe Photoshop. If you're using a different animation software than these three, you may want to look into how your animation software does place and trace, or improvise it like I would do it in Photoshop. Make duplicates of those drawings in a different layer, and adjust the opacity and orientation yourself. So what other tips do I have in trying to keep your drawings more consistent and solid? Besides shift and trace, which was probably the biggest one that I want to talk about for this video. The second biggest one that I can think about is to utilize character layout drawings. It can be a single drawing, it could be a few drawings, or it could be a drawing with multiple drawings of the character at different sections of the shot. So if I was animating a character running up the stairs, I would make several drawings of the character on top of the stairs, a drawing of the character at the bottom of the stairs, and a drawing of the character on the middle of the stairs. I would probably draw it in the same frame. I would use a line where I would connect the head to the head of the other pose, the torso to the next torso of the next pose, just so that I can help keep my character in track when I do animate on top of this placeholder drawing. This technique is useful, especially for rough animation. When you animate rough, it's bound to happen that things are going to shrink and grow throughout the animation. But with a placeholder, it'll help you keep in track in where to place your poses for your actual animation.
Wait, the placeholder?
All the animation to the next again and again.
We're learning animation.
Any weird complex stuff like some programs. But the way I do shift and trace in Flash is that I turn drawings that I want to use as my placeholders as symbols. And then with symbols, you can adjust the opacity, the color, how bright it is. And you can lay them on in different layers in the animation. And in using those layers, I would adjust my drawings to match the angle of the actual character's animation. And on top of the character animation, I'll make my in-between using my laid out drawings as reference for the in-between. So Flash or Adobe Animate is probably the closest thing in how I did it in Adobe Photoshop. If you're using a different animation software than these three, you may want to look into how your animation software does place and trace, or improvise it like I would do it in Photoshop. Make duplicates of those drawings in a different layer, and adjust the opacity and orientation yourself. So what other tips do I have in trying to keep your drawings more consistent and solid? Besides shift and trace, which was probably the biggest one that I want to talk about for this video. The second biggest one that I can think about is to utilize character layout drawings. It can be a single drawing, it could be a few drawings, or it could be a drawing with multiple drawings of the character at different sections of the shot. So if I was animating a character running up the stairs, I would make several drawings of the character on top of the stairs, a drawing of the character at the bottom of the stairs, and a drawing of the character on the middle of the stairs. I would probably draw it in the same frame. I would use a line where I would connect the head to the other pose, the torso to the next torso of the next pose.
Sorry, I'm just super
just so that I can help
locked
keep
in
my
trying
character
to
in track when I do animate on top of this
try to do this
placeholder
right.
drawing. This technique is useful, especially for rough animation. When you animate rough, it's bound to happen that things are going to shrink and grow throughout the animation. But with a placeholder, it'll help you keep in track in where to place your poses for your actual animation. All the animation demos that I show in my animation course always utilizes this layout. And it's a discipline that you guys might want to start getting into. So before you even start animating your animation shot, make a few layout drawings that describe the size, the proportion, and the position of the character in the scene. That way it'll help you be more consistent with your animation on the first pass. The third method that I can only think about right now, just for the sake of keeping consistent with your animation shot, is to flip like a madman. If you've been following my work and how I approach teaching animation, I always talk about flipping between your drawings. And I would encourage you guys just to flip a lot more than to rely on your onion skin. I'm not saying you should stop using the onion skin, I'm saying that you shouldn't only depend on it. Flipping allows you to feel the movement of the drawing while at the same time feel how drawings relate to each other depending on where they are in the animation timeline.
That's all I needed to
Flipping
hear.
will actually help you see and feel the movement of objects that won't really be felt or seen when you're just trying to draw in between lines between two drawings. There's a method that I love to use when I flip between my drawings called dot to dot or the point to point method, where when I draw in betweens, I would just use dots to indicate where the tip or an accent of a part of the character is, and then just draw the dots to lay out the arc and movement, and basically draw my lines connecting to those dots. This is so that I keep track of those accents. If you guys want to see me utilize this technique even more, check out my in-betweening full demo that I have up on YouTube.
Hey Fox,
And it's
what's going
also
on?
included in my 2D animation course. Anyways, those are the top tips, methods, and advice that I can talk about when it comes to keeping your drawings consistent. But in the end, it's also the practice of learning how to draw better, improving your draftsmanship, and breaking things down into much more simpler shapes and forms. Anyways, thank you guys so much
Oh,
for
thank you for
watching
the
this video, and I hope you guys
snap,
learned a lot from it.
Phoenix.
Interested in learning
Okay, you
hands-on
dropped two
animation
guitars.
or
You
learning
get
how
a
to
drawing.
finish
What do you want me to
animated
draw?
shot from beginning to end? Have a look at the
Thank you for
store where
that.
you'll find a
Let me
complete
see.
introduction to 2D
Monthly
animation video
arms.
course,
You like my
tutorials, and
armpit?
other
I
resources.
can't see it.
Learn
So.
classical animation approaches, drawing, lectures, techniques, and other process videos. Visit the store through the link in the description below.
Interesting. Okay, that's what I need to do. Maybe that'll keep it consistent if I keep flipping it. And I can feel it out, and then I'll just... Yeah, I think that's what's going to be my saving grace. I think that makes more sense. Because I don't know how... Because I don't think he actually told me, like... not saying he didn't, but... It's hard to explain.
All you gotta do... Oh my goodness. Do you want to learn how to animate?
Which Discord do I use again? What are you trying to do on the Discord?
Yeah, I do. Why do you sound like that? Did you know you can study animation in college? Oh, you can? Yeah, you can. All you gotta do... Oh my goodness. Do you want to learn how to animate? Yeah, I do. Why do you sound like that? So this video isn't really
Oh, just send me in a message.
Exactly, but I'm basically sharing the curriculum of an animation class I took, so if you want homework, do these assignments.
Just message me.
I guess.
DM me.
Here's every assignment I had in animation class.
Hello.
But first, backstory. All right, stay with me. No, wait. No. Wait. I'll be quick. Fall 2018, I had the opportunity to attend college and pursue my biggest passion in life, animation. I wanted to work in the animation industry as a visual development artist. Okay, I'm gonna pause real quick. Basically, visual development is like concept art for animation. You got character design, environment design, stuff like that. After the long, stressful process of applying to the animation major, which had its ups and downs, somehow I managed to get in. Okay, let's actually start talking about animation. So, before I was accepted into the major, I had to take an intro to 2D animation class. And look, we all gotta start somewhere. And this is where I had to start. The bouncing ball. This is pretty much always the first exercise in an animation course, but it's a good intro to the 12 principles of animation, such as squash and stretch, timing, arcs. I'm not going to explain all of them.
Do you know how to send me a message, Phoenix?
I'll link this video in the description.
What's your name on that thing? I'll send you
also
a hi.
About it. So, if you want to learn how to animate,
I don't know if you changed your name.
You want to learn the fundamentals, but you're not even sure what the fundamentals are. Learn the 12 principles. Animate a bouncing ball. The bouncing ball also is good practice for like animating physics, gravity, and that stuff is pretty important. And then we had the classic sack of flour assignment. This can be your next assignment. All you gotta do is you animate a sack of flour, but with emotion.
Motion. Let's go. Need that motion.
So this exercise has been around since the 30s. And according to my research, it was developed at Disney as a way for animators to practice animating weight and gesture. I went above and beyond by animating not one, not three, but 2 flour sacks.
Put more weights on that.
My idea was kind of to make one sneak up on the other. The point is to try and take an inanimate object.
His name is Cribs. K-I-R-B-S.
Take an inanimate object and make it feel like a character. How does a
I
sack of
just
flour
found him
walk
today.
around and move and express emotions? The idea is that every character is like a sack of flour, if you think about it.
Okay.
But really, though, I mean, the flour sack is pretty
Is
much
that
just a
armadillo?
couple steps back from being a full character with...
Are you asking me to draw this armadillo chick? Like, what exactly are you looking for me to do with this? Like, is there anything in particular you want me to do with this character?
limbs and stuff. Alright, so once you've animated your ball and sack, you've basically done the two main assignments in my 2D animation class. We had a bunch of drawing assignments, but this video is about animation. Okay, back to the college narrative. I'd been accepted into the animation major, and although my goal was to emphasize in visual development, I was required to take a more in-depth animation class, which obviously makes sense for an animation student. But hey, animation's really fun. Now, on to the regular old 2D
Is that an
animation
armadillo, though?
class.
I'm not sure.
We started with an assignment where we had to animate another bouncing ball, but with emotion. I chose lazy. It's just like myself. Look at that. Then we had to animate a sperm.
Now, question, is this... What? Wait, what? What? Okay. I'll keep it pretty sim. So what animal is it, though? Like, I'm confused. Like, what animal is it supposed to be? So I know I'm not drawing the wrong one. And how antro are we going here? Is it human with a armadillo head, or is it more animal? Like, I know there's like two type of furries here. I use example, use like a what can I use? Like the typical VR chat furry looking character, or the Sonic looking character, like more human. Unless you can just show, you know what, you can just send me the body type. No, send me a body type from Pinterest. I don't need to, so you don't have to like explain. So like send me like 3 or 4 pictures of body type and clothing or whatever, if that's something. Like, unless you gave me free reign on the clothing. But at least give me body type if we're looking here.
What? Oh,
Intro.
my bad.
Okay.
The ball with tail assignment. The idea of this
Alright,
assignment
so
is
send
to
me some
practice
examples
follow-through
so I
and
know I'm not
overlapping action in its most basic
drawing the
form.
wrong
Wherever the ball
type.
goes, the tail follows. Now, I know what you're thinking. This looks really silly and stupid. But if you think about it, this is the first step to animating something like hair. Okay, ready? Look at this. Ready? Look. Look. Ball. Tail.
Wait, what?
Ball. Oh, my bad. Balls. Look at that. And to emphasize in visual development, I was required to take a more in-depth animation class, which obviously makes sense for an animation student. But hey, animation's really fun. Now, on to the regular old 2D animation class. We started with an assignment where we had to animate another bouncing ball, but with emotion. I chose lazy. It's just like myself. Look at that.
No, you don't have to send me the
Then we
drawing.
had to
You can
animate
just
a
go to Pinterest and send me some examples that we're looking at here. So you go to Pinterest on your phone or on your computer or whatever, and then send me a few examples, and then I know what to do from that point. You don't have to even say anything.
Sperm. What? Oh, my bad. The ball with tail assignment.
I want to keep it
The idea of
consistent.
this assignment is to practice follow-through and overlapping action in its most basic form. Wherever the ball goes, the tail follows. Now, I know what you're thinking. This looks really silly and stupid. But if you think about it, this is the first step to animating something like hair. Here, ready? Look at this. Ready? Look.
Ball.
Ball. Tail. Then we had another ball with tail assignment, but this time the ball had to be scared of something.
What?
I don't know. The criteria was really specific for some reason. I don't know why a dead fish just falls from the sky. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was really tired when I made this. But you can skip this assignment. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't learn anything from this one. You can just I don't know what the point of this one is. Maybe to like learn how to animate another emotion. I don't know. I remember my friend in class couldn't stop laughing at how random it was.
Maybe there's an animation for something I'm trying to work on.
Lip syncing. This assignment was really fun and also really useful.
What the hell was that?
To like learn how to animate another emotion. I don't know. I remember my friend in class couldn't stop laughing at how random it was. Lip syncing. This assignment was really fun and also really useful. Roll the clip. Pop-Tarts ravioli? Wait, what? Are
The sperm
Pop-Tarts
method.
ravioli? Wait, are they?
I'm doing an animation for my...
Whatever,
so.
This is a self-explanatory assignment. If you want to animate characters talking, you got to learn how to draw and animate mouths. Yeah. Did you think about that? Next. Can we skip this one? Please? No? It's really important. Ugh. I feel like I've improved at walk cycles now, but man, when I did this assignment, it was rough. Some of these last assignments are easy to learn, but hard to master. But that's okay. You know, look, when you go to practice a new skill, your first attempt probably isn't going to be your best, right? But just keep practicing, and it'll become easier. Okay, let's get back into it.
fuck
The walk
was that?
cycle. Before I took this class, I
The
don't know
walk
if I
cycle.
ever actually animated a walk cycle. So here's my first attempt. I was going for this cowboy outlaw guy with a big floppy hat, like sauntering, I guess. And okay, here's where I think I went wrong with this one. I think I went in to clean up the line art way too fast. I think I needed to do more rough passes before going in to clean it up, because the rough version I did doesn't look too bad. I mean, it looks okay. The movement feels like it's there. I just needed to go over it a few more times. Here's my second walk cycle attempt. I didn't finish it before it was due, but I mean, I got the basic movement down. I challenged
Queenie,
myself
what's
to
going
animate
on?
a child walking around. I wish I finished this actually. I feel like this was coming along nicely, but a deadline's a deadline. If I had to give a little tip for this one, I would say start with just a normal walk cycle. Like, in fact, literally just walk cycle.
Just wait on you,
guide.
Fox.
Here you go. Here's like 50 walk cycle guides you can follow. Just take your character and just draw it in these poses. Contact down, passing up, contact down, passing up, and then it loops. Like, this is literally how I animated the title card. Is you just follow the guide. There's nothing wrong with just following the guide. That's why these exist, is so that you could just reference them. Nothing wrong with using reference. And speaking of reference, we were required to shoot a reference video for our next assignment, which was the lift assignment. In this one, we had to have a character pick up a heavy object. So my plan for this one was I had this cool skeleton Grim Reaper dude who was gonna pick up a scythe and then stab the ground with it. So this was my reference video for that. And I know what you're thinking, why is he holding a crocodile? Well, it's an alligator.
Okay.
So I tried to make this reference video
Okay.
feel realistic, so I had a dumbbell in my backpack, but I wasn't
Such a
gonna
difference.
freaking ground pound it on my bedroom floor, so I just cut and used an alligator. Yeah, any other questions? And all that said, I couldn't finish.
He's
the
really
animation
standing
yet.
business
The
on the
full
alligator.
version doesn't look too good, kind of sucks. You guys are probably like, did you even pass this class?
No.
But yes, I passed the class. Effects. I loved this assignment because effects animation is just so fun. You can just animate straight ahead and just have fun with it. So effects animation is like organic simulations, like fire, smoke, explosions. Anything that's like an effect, basically. I went with water for mine.
Water effects?
And yeah, that's it. That's all the 2D animation assignments. There's plenty of other animation exercises you can do to practice, but those are the ones we did in my class. And I think it's a solid lineup of assignments to get you started. I also took a 3D animation class.
No one cares.
I will keep this brief. Here's just a short compilation of the assignments I did for 3D animation. I don't even know where all of them are, so this isn't all of them, but my biggest takeaway is that 3D animation and 2D animation really aren't all that different. It's just the software. One involves drawing and the other involves posing 3D models. But it's all the same principles, and we had to do a bouncing ball, we had to do a lift, a walk cycle. But yeah, that was my experience learning animation in college. I mean,
Victory.
like a small part of my experience. In conclusion, whether you're a prospective animation student or a hobby animator, or maybe you just fell down a rabbit hole of animation videos and tutorials on YouTube, well, hopefully you got something out of this. And maybe this video was kind of all over the place, and sorry about that, but hey, ever since I was 11 years old, and I had Jask Animation Shop 3 on my computer, and I was learning how to animate. Well, I've just loved animation, and I love talking about it, so I hope you liked the video. I hope it was as fun to watch as it was for me to make. So, thanks for watching. Bye!
Nice video! Oh, nice video! Amazing!
Listen, I know you saw the title, we both know why you're here, and you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make your own animated TV show from start to finish with actionable steps, no tricks. The first thing you have to know is that a lot of people get into animation in the first place because they dream of being a show creator, someone who creates their own show, or a show runner, someone who runs their own or someone else's show. People like you and me grew up watching Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls, or maybe SpongeBob, Adventure Time, Gumball, Phineas and Ferb, Scooby-Doo. And people like you and me dream of having that for ourselves. And we can. And it's easier than you think. All you need
I'm a check.
is someone to show you how. Now, I'm making this video because a few of you have noticed that I am posting with a little bit less frequency than I did before. And you're right, I am. And I would say that I'm sorry, but I'm not. Because I planned on posting at this frequency for a while. Now, there is a reason for that. And I'm sure you've guessed it by now. The reason is, I am making my own animated TV show. Thank you, I know, you're so excited for me, but those of you who have been with me for a while now know that this isn't really anything new. I've made TV shows before, but what is new is this. I'm not working with a big studio this time, and I'm not working with a small studio, or with an independent studio.
Alright.
I'm working alone. Now, the first question a lot of you will ask me is
real
why.
quick, I can pull this off pretty fast.
The concept of TV has completely changed from when you and I were growing up. In 1983, the finale of the sitcom MASH drew in 106 million live viewers across the United States. That is almost 50% of the U.S. population in 1983. The Big Bang Theory, by numbers, is the most popular TV show of the 21st century. The Big Bang Theory series finale in 2019 drew in 18 million viewers across the United States, which is 18% of the US at that time. My most popular video has 9 million views. Me, alone, half the views of the most popular TV show of the 21st century. That is really good news for you and me. TV is different from how it was. It is not like a radio broadcast anymore. It's more like a second monitor for your PC. You choose what broadcasts on your TV. You choose when it broadcasts, and you even choose to skip the ads if you want. Now, YouTube has been using the word channel for its individual user pages since YouTube started in 2005, but as streaming takes over more and more, YouTube is beginning to feel more and more like a collection of individual TV channels. In the past few months, A lot of people have tagged me in pictures of them.
Hold on, guys. Give me
watching
1
me
second. I'm doing a bunch of
on their own
maneuvering. There we go.
TVs. So,
Alright, we'll come back to the animation stuff in a little bit, because, like, since I have to pull this off because I just got commissioned to do this, I have to do this now. Don't want the client waiting. So, while I do that, we'll do a little bit of reactions as I work. Should not take me long at all. Should take me pretty fast. Shocked by call it. Let me see. Let her talk.
the first question a lot of you have when I tell you that I'm making my own animated TV show all by myself is why? The answer is why not? Once or twice a month, I get up here in front of you and I deliver a 15-minute video full of interesting niche information with an underlying message that essentially boils down to this: follow your dreams, make art fearlessly, start where you are. And who would I be if I didn't follow my own advice? Now, I could, of course, take this TV show concept and pitch it around to different big studios in LA waiting for someone to pick it up. And then I could spend 1 to 5 years in development hoping for a green light. And then if it gets a green light, I could spend another year in production before the first episode even airs, which is how it works, by the way. Or I could make the show and be finished in 4 months and then have a show. What do I need budget for? Or talent? Or overhead? I am budget. I am talent.
What is this?
This is overhead.
This is just a
So the
chick just
reason
trying
why
to...
is simply this.
Wait, is she trying to motivate herself by
And
motivating
I have
y'all, by
free will.
motivating herself by
And
making
it's a
these
lot
videos?
easier than you think, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. And now that I have answered your initial question, as well as given you some convincing supporting evidence in favor of making your own animated TV show by yourself, I'm sure you have a second question. How? And this is where I can help. The things you will need. First, you will need something to write your script with. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Pick something that's easy and fun for you. If you don't know what that is, pick the thing you like to write on most when you were a kid. Second, you will need something with which to make your show. This is the art part, so be as creative as you want here. You can film your TV show with your smartphone or with your older sister's digital camera. Act it yourself or get your friends to act it for you. Animate your show on paper and then scan the pages at your local library. Use MS Paint or Procreate on an iPad or Clay or Rocks or Finger Puppets.
Hello,
It doesn't
Sarah, what's
matter.
going on?
It's up to you. You are the artist. This is where you get to have fun. Prioritize your fun. Third, and arguably the most important, you will need an editing software. After you're done filming your show, you will import the clips into an editing software either on your phone or on your computer. There you will work on your transitions and add music and sound and effects and anything else you like. If you have ever made a TikTok before, this will not be a foreign concept to you. It is exactly the same. Popular editing softwares include CapCut, which is free, $6 or $20 depending on the level you choose, Adobe Premiere Pro, which is $20 a month, and DaVinci Resolve, which is free and open source. You can also choose to use iMovie on your iPhone or Windows Movie Maker on your PC, both of which were my personal favorite editing softwares for many, many years. If you need additional help with your editing software, there are endless tutorials online. I use tutorials pretty much for every video, no shame in the game. Fourth, you will need a YouTube account or other social media account if you plan to share online. If you don't plan to share online, you can skip this step. But you may decide you want to submit your show to film festivals or pitch it around to different studios. Who knows? The possibilities are
Do this for
endless.
work.
Once you have all your tools together, the next step is to practice with them until you feel comfortable enough to make your show. Practice a lot if these are new tools. Get situated. The more that you practice here, the easier your next steps will be. Now, you have your materials together, you're ready to go, you have an idea, then as promised, here are the steps to create your very own animated TV show. Step 1, write your script. Use your imagination. It can be about anything that you want. You can use Barbies to recreate a drama that you had in high school, or you can use a lime and then a watermelon to represent a person going through a big physical change. You can tell a story about your favorite video game characters or anime characters or a day that you and your friends had at the beach. The sky is the limit. Go crazy. Now don't get discouraged at this part. You have the ability to tell a great story. You've done it before. So just channel that here. If you still need help, don't worry, I got you as usual. Here is an exercise. Get a piece of paper with lines on it. Set a timer for 1 minute. Fill up the entire paper, one idea per line, before the timer reaches 0. Repeat until you really can do it before the timer runs out. Congratulations, you have officially unlocked some of the best ideas you'll ever have. Use that
Oh,
paper
I was
forever.
like, why is that-
Remember,
okay.
you are an artist, so you will be making art for the rest of your life. There is no need to be precious here. This is not the Mona Lisa. This is not your one and only chance to make a show. This is learning. Aim to fail 20 times, and you will have 1 success. 2, when your script is done, plan your shots. You're using clay and your script calls for 2 characters, then you will need to make 2 puppets. Your story takes place in space, then you're going to need a set. Your set can be your kitchen table with a sheet over it, or it can be a fully lit 6-foot square in your garage, complete with fog machine and hand-painted stars. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
cat,
That is
thank
up
you
to
for
you.
part-
Follow your
of the
script.
head.
Step 3, now I know what you're thinking. You have your script from step
Thank
1.
you.
You have your set from step 2. Step 3 must be make the movie, or what we in the industry call production. This is the biggest mistake that young filmmakers make.
No one does this for
Step 3
free.
is not production. You are still very far from production. Step 3 is production schedule. You may think, like I thought, that production schedule is an incidental, something you can skip if you want to, but it's not. Production schedule requires its own step in the production process, and
Hey, sad
skipping
boy.
this step is fatal 100% of the time. Production schedule is without a doubt the single most important step of the production process. Why? Because you are an artist. Are you a serious artist? Then you need to take your work seriously. Projects die when they are treated as if they are not important. Your art is important. So let's talk about it like it is. You are the creator and you are the studio. So we need to talk deliverables. Pick a deadline. Ideally, pick a deadline that scares you. If this is your first time making something, then any deadline is likely to scare you. That's okay.
Come
It
to
should,
that conclusion.
because you're going to hold yourself to it. Now
And this
listen,
is,
up
I'm not
until
more
this
better
point, you've been
looking.
the artist, and I've been talking to you as if you are the artist, appealing to your
I
sense
got
of
you.
possibility, showing you how the world has changed, and inspiring you with all the cool ideas that you could use to potentially make a show. But I need to talk to somebody else now. I need to talk to the part of your brain that says we shouldn't be doing this when you're sitting there scrolling on your phone. The part of your brain that says, come on, you're procrastinating, or is this idea even realistic? I need to talk to the part of your brain that says, that's nice, but how? And that keeps you up at night worrying about all of the things that probably won't ever happen. This part of your brain is your production manager. Put them in front of the screen. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm a big fan of your work. Listen, I know as well as anyone that your internal production manager can cause you a lot of grief. They can stop you from enjoying the things you love. They can keep you up all night worrying about the future. They can put you
doing
in your
freelance work.
head instead of where you're supposed to be as an artist, which is out there living your
Someone
life in
asked
the
for a
moment.
gift request.
But your production manager is only trying to help. There is no art without the artist. Your production manager knows that.
Nope,
And
I
they're
don't
only
do
trying
free
to
work.
keep you
You gotta pay
safe
for that.
and on track. Give them a track, and then you'll really be flying. Production manager, here's what I'm going to need you to do.
Sorry.
Artist is going to
They're
give
free,
you a
just like this
deadline that
person-
scares
just
them,
like
and
Fox
then they're going to
paid
get
for
really
their
honest with
character
you
to be drawn.
about how fast
Have to
they
do the
can
same.
work while retaining high quality and mental health. There are 3 separate dials that we are managing here, production manager, and each dial affects the others as you turn it. The dials are speed, quality, and mental health. Too fast, quality and mental health go down. Too good, speed and mental health go down. Prioritize only the things that you want to do when you want to do them.
Huh?
Your
For real?
quality and your speed will
What'd
both
he
go
say?
down. Pop quiz, what's the most important dial? Correct. Mental health. What does the minimum threshold of maintaining your mental health look like for you? What keeps you there? Is it your daily walk? Is it calling your spouse? Is it taking your medicine or 30 minutes in the sun
Thank
every
you,
day?
I appreciate it.
Have that conversation
I really
with
love his
yourself
work.
and then commit to
I like his
never
takes
going
on his
below
videos,
your
and
minimum threshold.
I always love
When I was
showing
in
my
school,
audience to
filmmakers
his
burnt
work.
out all the time, and I can tell you
I'm
for
just
a
gonna
fact
keep on
the
doing it 'cause I
fastest
really
way to
enjoy
reach
his
burnout
videos.
is to ratchet
Whether
up
he
those 2
knows,
dials while
whether he knows me or
forgetting a
not, I
third.
really do
You
enjoy them.
can't do that. That is making your own life
I
hell
really
for no
do.
reason. I
I
tell
think
you
it's
all the time
interesting.
that the most important thing is that you are mentally
Thank you so
healthy.
much.
Everything else can be
Thank you so much
negotiated
for that,
later.
Sylph.
But be honest with yourself, and then push yourself appropriately.
There's this
'Cause
YouTuber
that's the
called
only way to make it through to the other side. When
Monty
this conversation
Sensei.
between your artist and your production manager
He was the
is
dude who was
over,
watching
you
last
will
night.
be able to make an efficient production schedule. I am now going to take you on a
Sure.
tour of mine, but be forewarned,
I already
I'm
did.
very
It's up there on
serious about my
YouTube.
art. This is what my production schedule looks like. I made this in Google Sheets, and I've been doing it
The
exactly
video's a
like
bit
this since I
old,
was
so you
at
can go
Cowlitz
check
10
it out
years
if you
ago.
want.
First thing that I do over here is I write how many episodes there are. There are 9, and then over here, this is how many
He was
shots
watching
there
his
are,
video the other
and this is
day.
whether or not I've written that episode. You'll see I've written them all the way
He
down
was
to
actually
episode
streaming at the
9.
time. He
Then
was
the next
watching his
thing over
stream
here
while
is
we
the
was
name
streaming.
of the shot and how hard that shot is, with this light blue being the easiest and this dark blue being the hardest.
Yep.
Then I write the name of the background, and then if I can reuse that background, I put a little X here. Basically how it works is I schedule out what day I'm going to do each part of that episode.
Yes,
So this is
and the
Monday,
yes,
this
the
is
heavies
Tuesday,
and the
that's
other things,
Wednesday,
yeah.
that's Thursday, this is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So as the week goes on, I can see the progress that I'm making. I think you understand the concept. Up here, we have thumbnails, storyboard, animatic, layout, keyframes, rough animation, clean animation, color, and edit. And as I do that work throughout the week, I mark it with an X.
What
And as
I'm
I
pretty sure
mark it
anime,
more
right?
and more with X's, the whole screen
Or maybe
will
not, maybe
fill up with
cartoons
black.
for all we know.
When I'm finished with the
pretty sure it's like
episode,
anime.
all of this
I'm pretty sure it's
will go
anime.
from
It has to be
white
anime.
and rainbow to black. And that helps my brain to feel like I'm doing a lot of good work. The most important thing to note here
for real?
is this.
That's
Hard
awesome.
deadline and soft deadline. Why do I have 2 different deadlines, and why are there 3 days
Awesome.
between
Pretty
them?
good.
Because those 3 days are my schedule.
I'll see if I can find it later.
I've been working with myself a lot of years, and at this point, my internal
nice.
production manager knows that
Did he
I
have
need to
anything in
kick and
particular that
scream
he
a little
just
bit every
like
once in a
other than
while.
just anime? Was
That's
there a
not
particular
uncommon for
anime that really
artists.
inspired him
So
to draw? Or
in
you never
every
explained
2-week
that yet.
period, I get
I'm
3
pretty sure
days where I
he
can
hasn't
scream and
explained that
cry
yet.
and say, I hate this, I don't want to do it, I give up. And then I can call out for the day. I spend those 3 days every 2 weeks doing things that I feel like I shouldn't do. I play video games, I go to the bar with my friends, and generally I play hooky like Ferris Bueller and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That feels great. That really supports my mental health. I be at the zoo, I be at the beach, I have a grand old time. And the next day, I come back to the office. And 9 times out of 10, I work much more efficiently
It kinda makes
than I
sense.
do. My production manager makes a lot of
Didn't see that one
concessions
coming.
for me like this. This week, I didn't want to do storyboards. I was out of scheduled
Bebop.
crash out days, but thinking about doing storyboards for my own
And
TV
Bebop,
show was
okay.
making me
So
crash
Boondocks
out.
and Bebop,
So
gotcha.
I weighed the pros and cons.
Even though
it would take
if I remember
me 3
right,
hours to do the storyboards, and I would be
Boondocks had a
fighting
lot
an
of
uphill
references
battle
to other
the entire
animes,
time, just hating
especially
it
Naruto.
and not wanting to do
Especially
it
the
at all,
fight
which
between,
takes a lot of energy.
the elderly
At the
people
end,
and
I would have a little
Riley
visual
and
plan that doesn't
and,
even see the light of day of what I would do for that week.
nice.
That did not feel like a good trade. So I decided not to
I think
put
season
my
1 and
artists
2 was the
through
best
that.
ones, I think,
Skip
and
the
then
boards, skip
anything
the
beyond
plan.
that was
Just
horrible.
jump into production, feet
It
first
just kinda,
grind.
like,
Even if I made a terrible
less
episode
funny.
because
I don't know
of it.
why.
This season is 9 episodes
I don't know what
long,
happened.
and
Probably
what's
it's the
one
writing
terrible
staff that
episode amongst
changed.
9?
I don't know what was going on.
But guess what happened? Yeah, that's right. I made the best episode that I have made thus far. So I listened to my artist. But I listen to my production manager too. On the days where I want to keep crashing out, but I'm out of my scheduled 3, my production manager looks me in the eyes and says, listen, I know, I understand it's hard, but I need you to lock in. You can crash out again on the 27th. And I lock in. I do, because I've built that relationship with myself, so I'm able to find that balance. I trust me, so I trust my schedule. I have proven to myself
can't be
time and time
stopped
again
if it's
that I have my
Batman.
best interest in mind, both mental health wise and for my art. And that makes it really easy to do what I have to do. You may
crazy.
find a different system that works for you, but you will find one.
Okay, let's
The
see.
bottom line is, you are
This is
your own
about
boss
here.
now. I
About
urge you
here.
to be a good one. Keep yourself happy. That's how you stay on the job. Step 4.
Right?
Production. Believe it or not, this is the easiest part of the job. If you've made yourself a good schedule, this hardly feels like work at all. Head down, do your work, take your days off.
That's
For
crazy.
most of us, this is our favorite part of the job. This is why we're
Doesn't make
artists.
sense,
So really enjoy yourself here. Sink your teeth in. Revel in the
make your
fact that you're
grip
making
being a
something. Enjoy your
criminal.
progress and enjoy watching it grow. Time passes whether you're working or not, so you may as well get working. You'll be busy, but if you manage your dials correctly,
crazy.
you'll go to bed feeling happy and fulfilled. And before you know it, you wake up and you're at step 5. Step
neck
5
is a little bit too
is
far
edits.
in, but we'll
in
fix
the
that.
industry, we call this
First, we'll get the shoulders
post-production.
up.
Your post-production could include music, ADR, which is alternate dialogue recording. It could also include color grading, special effects, sound edits, Foley, my personal favorite part, or none of the above. It's up to you and the project. Tips. Don't forget that sound is half the film. Seriously, I forgot that, and it is a mess every time. Don't forget, sound is half the film. And don't forget to schedule in plenty of time to do what you need to do in post-production.
When I think of it
Schedule
now-
more than you need. Actually, schedule double what you think you will need.
When I think of it now,
If you do that, you'll
would it
probably
make
make
more
your
like
deadline
it
by
kind of
just
makes
a
sense?
hair.
You
The
think
last
that
step,
because didn't
step
he do that
6,
to like
is to show people.
Wonder Woman
Consider
in
a
the Dark
screen
Knight
in the living
Rises?
room for your whole
Dark
family.
Knight.
Consider also a sheet thrown over a fence in the backyard so you can project on it for all of your
Let's
friends.
go. Let's
Consider
see.
sharing on YouTube, or asking your teacher if you can play your TV show for the class, or asking your local bar if they'll host a premiere. But share. That's what art is for. You worked hard. You deserve recognition. Celebrate. Enjoy. Making a TV show is really hard work. That's why we have wrap parties in the industry. So have a little party. Treat yourself. Get yourself something nice. Make yourself an Oscar out
Sorry
of
about your
cardboard
puppy.
and put it on your shelf. Congratulations. You deserve it. And that's it. You're done. Maybe that's the only TV show you'll ever make in your life. Or maybe you're like me and you'll get addicted and build a career off of
Oh,
it.
God.
Or maybe Cartoon Network will see your show and pick it up, and you'll join the elite ranks of showrunners that you've always dreamed of joining. Or maybe not. Who cares? You did something great all on your own. Now, all that's left to do is to link it below so that we can watch it too. As for me, I'm in step 4, production, and I'll be here until the end of December, after which you can expect to see a little bit more of me here on
alright.
YouTube. Here are a few production stills from my show, which will air right here on
Sorry to hear
YouTube for
that.
your personal enjoyment. Episode 1 will air on October 31st, 2025, or Halloween of this year. Until then, thank you for your patience while I follow my dreams. Don't expect perfection out of me. I never ask it of myself. But what you can expect is my very best shot. And I hope the same for you. Good luck. Tag us. Put us in the special thanks section of your credits where I plan to put you. If you'd like to watch season 1 of my TV show, which I published last Halloween on Instagram, I've linked it right here and in the description box below. People really liked it. I hope you will too. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and before I go, shout out to my in-law Sue. Thank you very much for watching my videos, and I hope, as always, that you're finding plenty of time for your own art. Can't wait to see your show. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Like that. Yeah, she didn't do a lot for visuals. Just felt like she kept on talking. She was talking about trying to get your own show out there, whatever the case may be, but like, it just became a total snooze fest. I think she just got really. I think what happened is she got really excited. This manga already canceled.
As always,
Excuse me. I think what happened was that she got excited because she got her show picked up, so she got super excited and started just pull out the camera and started talking.
Shonen Jump has a bunch of new manga that have recently been released, and I thought it would be a good time to talk about them, as well as my feelings regarding the magazine and how we
That's what I'm
approach and
assuming.
talk about new manga. You might notice, if you do watch the
Thank you.
channel, that I talk about Weekly Shonen Jump a lot, though it's mostly focused in specific avenues, its cancelled manga and its history. And usually on both fronts, this means talking about manga that aren't ongoing and have ended years or even decades ago. There's quite a few reasons for this, ranging
I
from
need
me
to see it
enjoying
again.
the
Oh my
subjects
God.
I cover, to me not
getting
wanting
sick?
to just chase the big new thing for the sake of it. But I, like many Jump fans, do read the entire magazine every single week, which includes all of its new debuts. The new Jump manga are honestly some of the most fun I have every single week, and are things I look forward
Actually,
to a
why am I
lot
doing
in
that?
my
I'm
daily
not even
life.
playing,
For a while, I have actually been making videos on all of Shonen Jump's new manga, smaller ones with a bit less editing, featuring my first impressions over on my Patreon. But after being pretty sick for a while, all 3 of these new series piled up before I knew it, so I don't just want to make those videos and shove them on the Patreon back to back. Instead, I thought I would pile all three of them here, which include Gonron Egg, The Mage Next Door, Hero Girl, and Demon Lord Call It Quits, and I'll talk about all of them here. Throughout, I also want to comment on how they might feel in the magazine. Do they reinforce trends or strike out in bold new directions for Jump standards? Do they feel unique among the magazine's cast or have something special that other manga don't? And alongside all of this, I want to talk about our relationship with Shonen Jump and its constant torrent of new manga as well as cancellations. To start off, let's dive into Gonron Egg, created by Shuhei Tanizaki, who seems to be a relatively new mangaka, though they have been working on things since at least 2016 with Kaiju no Kuki Shokunin, that ran for 4 chapters in Jump Giga that year.
Oh.
Aesthetic over the years, it has changed 4 chapters in Jump Giga that year. Seems to be a relatively new mangaka, though they have been working on things since at least 2016 with Kaiju no Kuki Shokunin.
That looks interesting. Look at that. It kind of reminds me of Demon Slayer. The way it looks.
That ran for 4 chapters in Jump Giga that year. It's a fantasy story about a weaponsmith, and while I feel the artwork of Tanizaki has held a strong fantasy aesthetic over the years, it has changed a lot compared to his next one-shot and Gonron Egg. The next one-shot being Ware wa Ryujin, or I Am the Dragon God, coming out within Jump in 2022, which seems to have been fairly popular, with it even getting a voiced comic on Jump's YouTube channel. A link to that will be in the description if you'd like to check it out. This one feels more in line with what we see in Gonron's Egg. It's a weirder fantasy world, a bit more monstrous, though there are big dragon ladies, which I think is
dragon ladies!
Cool, which sadly Gonron Egg lacks so far, bar this cool, weird demon creature plant lady at the end of chapter 3, but perhaps we'll get more like them in the future. The main character design also looks sick, especially with his helmet. I've seen a lot of people express sadness over the loss of the design here, which I think is pretty understandable. This looks metal as
not gonna lie, these are cancelled mangas.
Just Egg proper. This is a fantasy adventure manga, as well as your typical battle series. Since it stands out a lot, I think commenting on Tanizaki's art style is what I'll do first. It has clearly changed from his last one-shot, with many people pointing out similarities between it and Yoshihiro Tagashi's work on Hunter x Hunter, which
it kind of looked like the art style. His art style kind of reminds me of Seven Deadly. It kind of reminds me of Seven Deadly if you look at it close enough. I don't see it in Hunter x Hunter. I see it in more of Seven Deadly. Just the way the eyes are drawn, the hair. I don't know. The elongation of the bodies like this. It kind of reminds me of Seven Deadly. By the way it looks.
Agree with. His line quality reminds me of how Tagashi's can be sometimes. It's pretty thick and messy, shapes are more rounded, and the expressions and overall faces feel quite similar to Hunter x Hunter's art overall. Effects like aura spit to the force of someone hitting also feel akin to Tagashi's art too. Perhaps then Tanizaki is a fan, or he may have done some assistant work for Tagashi, since he has been active now and then throughout the last few years. Gonron's art does shine on its own merits though. Tanizaki is good at drawing expressions. Gonron himself makes a variety of charming faces, which endeared me to him, and maybe more impressively is the expressions of Oma, Gonron's titular egg companion. With just an eye, Tanizaki can convey all sorts of things that give this character an interesting edge, which I'll dig into in a bit. I also like his creature design and the armor design of Gonron. The work overall has its own bizarre aesthetic that's fantastical but a bit dark, and in all cases, it irradiates a coolness to me. I have heard some complaints about how it's drawn, it lacking consistency, but the way in which Tanizaki simplifies different aspects like Gonron's armor in some panels fills me with admiration. I'm not mad the author hasn't drawn the same one-for-one thing in each page. Smart shortcuts and simplifications of drawings have their own charm and aid greatly in the weekly manga creation process. I should probably explain what Gonron Egg actually is about now, and thankfully it's got a fairly simple premise. The world of Gonron's Egg isn't exactly a straight fantasy one, but a post-apocalypse one that sees the Drakarks, a race of draconic, angelic, eldritch-esque beings descend from the plane of Gandala. They,
Okay.
of course, devastate the Earth and enslave humanity, reverting progress to a medieval kind of state, using humans to erect new buildings with different architecture that I feel adds a lot to the uniqueness of the series. It's not the most original setup ever, but it's been a while since we've had a setting like this in the magazine. We then are introduced to Gonron, a slave who finds an egg, one which belongs to a Drakak prince who wants Gonron to help him fight back
Story how
against
to
the
make the strongest
Drakak who
armor.
usurped his father's throne, and to save humanity. This leads to perhaps my favorite aspect of the
anime's
series, and one I think
titles
is a
are so
bit
ridiculous that
under-discussed
almost
so
sounds
far, and it's the
believable.
relationship between Gonron and Oma. On one level, you have something that's quite sweet between this boy and his egg. Oma feels like somewhere between a mentor and a pet, and Gonron rushing or tickling him is cute. There is this desire from Gonron to help and protect, perhaps because he earnestly believes in Oma and the promise he was presented with. Maybe it's also someone who is innately kind, just looking after something that needs help. Gonron not distinguishing between human or Drakak, and instead by the character of each individual, could be an interesting thing the series could explore in the future. Oma is also representative of hope as well, hope for a future where humanity is free, and what better way to illustrate a promise of potential than an egg? Something will hatch out of it eventually, though will it be hope or will it be something else? This is the thing that intrigues me the most about the series, as Oma has been helpful thus far, but there's something sinister to him. He is of course a Drakak, like the ones who've enslaved humankind, though seems adamant he can help. The language he uses in this context is interesting though, as it's as if he views Gonron as a subject. There's little hints that humanity might get a better deal out of helping Oma, but their freedom isn't necessarily guaranteed. A time will come when all mankind welcome my rule. I will be pleased to have such a strong and determined people as my subjects. Is this him being haughty in a playful way, or is there genuinely going to be something more to Gonron Egg? At the very least, the level of unease and distrust I have, contrasted with the more endearing bond between these two characters, is a fun clash to behold week by week. Gonron's overly idealistic persona that feels slightly off itself could also be a setup for some edgy development in the future. It also could be nothing of the sort, and what we're building to is more of a standard fantasy adventure story, though, and all the egg stuff is my imagination just running wild.
Oh!
Despite
Oh my god,
praises,
50!
I
What
do
the
think
hell? Bro! Okay. You dropped another 50. What the hell? What the? Bro. Okay, you know, Grim, you do have a commit. You can get a commission. You can get a commission. Oh my god. You can get a full body commission customized if you want. Yeah, I'll fix the arm, I promise. But like that 50 bucks just dropped in again. Just what the hell? Grim, you know you can get a commission. You can request a commission. Just letting you know, you can at any moment. Till the next stream. Oh my god.
has stumbled a bit here and there. One major aspect
You have
is
24
how
hours
it
to
shows humanity's oppression.
to
We don't get
make
to
a
see much
request,
of it
or
aside from characters
forever
being
hold your
enslaved and
peace to the
eaten,
next
which
stream.
is bad, but the weight of the Drakak's rule isn't as strong as the characters would leave you to believe. If it were built up more and we were made to care about humanity and its fate, then Gonron and Oma's adventure to save everyone would hit a lot harder. There's still plenty of time to build up to this though. There are a few other things Gonron has set up in advance too, which I'm excited
Yeah.
to see it reach. The antagonist
see
already
it.
has a name, Agito. Oma has mentioned another ally, perhaps they are another Drakak or another human. There is a character on the first chapter's color spread we have yet to meet too. Gonron also has a sister somewhere in the world he wants to find as well. So even 3 to 4 chapters in, there's a decent chunk we know about the world and pieces that can be maneuvered to make the story more than Gonron just hunting down Drakaks. Chapter 3 also put more focus on the world itself, Gonron's growing strength through
Oh my
eating
god,
Drakak hearts.
I didn't
Another
expect that
aspect
50 to come
makes
out of
the
nowhere.
Oma is a weird freaky egg idea stand out. But also this chapter focused on some human survivors too, and the perception of drag arcs by humans, showing that Gonron and Oma's goal would be hard to achieve, since it might not be
to
only
be honest.
drag
I
arcs
just
they'll have
expect
to
to get
fight
$50
against.
again.
Its world is exciting, contrary to what a lot of
I
people
don't
are
really
saying
expect
online.
a lot of
I
money
feel
when
like
I do
there's
my
something
streams
here
when I'm
amongst the
streaming, but
rubble.
like when
It
it's
has
like
an
that, I
older
was like, oh my
charm,
god,
which
that's a
for me
lot of
reminds me
money.
of some of my favorite video games
That's
like
crazy.
Drakengard
Thank
or
you.
Nier. It's odd, there's a vacuum of hope, decay everywhere, with a mix of fantasy and religious aesthetic. If any other Jump manga are similar, I'd point to Iron Knight and Blue Dragon Ralgrad.
Yeah,
Both series I
today's a
like
good
because
day.
they're
It's a
quick,
good week.
simple, have great
Things are
aesthetics,
turning up
although
ever since
both
I
were
hit
cancelled
10,000
and
on
definitely
YouTube.
didn't hit with everyone.
So I'm
It
trying to
was
keep
so
that
long ago
consistency
though
as
that
much as
it
possible.
does make Gonron stand out as something a bit different at this time. I don't think this is the most innovative manga by any means though. Nothing actually insane has happened yet, so I understand if people are lukewarm or this just hasn't clicked with
I'm
them
doing
at
a quick
all. But in the current context
drawing
of Jump, I
request,
think it's pretty unique. It's not
commissioned
an
drawing
Exorcist
request
level shonen set in
right now.
current day, nor is it tinged in a real-world mythology like Ultra of the Flame, for example.
Ultra of the Flame looks like Hunter's Guild. It looks like Hunter's Guild. Maybe it's the same artist. I would love to do the compositional covers for like anime covers. That'd be so cool.
It has this post-apocalypse angle. Potentially elements of horror or darkness could come from it too. That being said, if you line up all the battle series that are in the magazine right now and acknowledge we have a...
Oh, it is? Cool. I actually, yes, go. Yeah, let's go. I actually like that. I thought I mentioned that to you. Did you? Oh, maybe I wasn't paying attention. My fault. I actually want to see this one. This is interesting. I'm already on One Piece. I gotta watch the Sakamoto days. This one looks like interesting. This one looks interesting. This one's still interesting to a degree. This is coming with an anime. I don't know. This one feels super 2000s. This one, I know this one. This is like a Exorcist anime. I mean manga, but I don't know. Whenever I look at the art style, it reminds me of like early 2000s type, like Shaman King or something.
fair few adventure titles already, things might get dicey for it, but of course, that's not the be-all end-all of things. Potentially, I can see Gonron's Egg in a similar light to Kyoshi or Ota, that this is something that would be a hit with younger audiences, the people who actually buy the magazine outright and who send in a lot of the surveys. So I don't think this is quite as instantly dead as some people might lead you to believe. It has a coolness factor to it in its designs and world.
The person who made Hunter's Guild was the assistant of Horikoshi. You can really see the My Hero Academia like influence. Thank you.
That is appealing.
Thank you.
Keep twisting and turning its
so
story
much
to grip readers. I can imagine it being a fun series to follow week by week, which is the most important thing of all. Upon further minor research, Tanizaki has actually done a lot more one-shots than I first realized. These have been interspersed from 2011 up until present day, so he's been active for a good long while. The color for his newest one-shot actually, Shujin Neo Kaseari, looks really sick in particular. He's a very strong illustrator. Our second news manga is The Mage Next Door, or Tonari no Asakawa. This is by another newcomer, Hideaki Nabe, who has put out an insane number of one-shots since 2020. We have No Kashishi, Slayer, and Gekiken no Shumito, which all seem to be action-focused series, but come 2022, the very manga we're covering today has its roots in the 2022 Gold Future Cup. The GFC being a competition that has happened most years since 2004, seeing new artists participate in order to get serialized within the magazine. I have talked about it multiple times before and even made a video on it a few years ago, though it's a bit outdated. This GFC in particular is shaping up to be quite the legendary one, giving us works from Mama Yu author Yoshihiko Hayashi, Star of Beethoven author Morohiro Hayashi, and the fabled Koi no Yobi no Sasaki-san is here too, which won the entire thing, but we're still yet to see it or its author debut anything in Jump. The original one-shot seems to be a bit more free-flowing, with Osegawa and another character lazing about, but ultimately helping the owners of a robbed store, which is quite similar to the chapter we'll dive into in a sec. The focus on rural Japan, long flat roads, mountains, and power lines gives it a nice relaxing vibe that's complemented by a few slice-of-life scenes, so perhaps this is what we can expect more of from the future of this series, and is honestly what I came to love most about the initial chapters. I really just want to see more of this cozy, kind of realistic Japan being portrayed. The countryside more than the city. There's something very special and homely about it all. Before the Mage Next Door would start, however, we would get a boatload more one-shots in the in-between years. Furosuki Kirin, Lost Boy, Yohei no Hen, and Takedai no Gekoso, with that one debuting this year even. I have also covered Yohei no Hen in a past one-shot video, so I have some experience with Nabe's works. I would say their strong suit is definitely melding everyday slice-of-life situations into different narratives. They have a playful, low-key vibe, which I've enjoyed from everything I've read from them, though their art can be a bit messy, and I don't think their action stands out particularly well. I think it's a good choice then to return to Osegawa, where the main focus seems to be on the slice-of-life intersection with magic. There's a touch of action, but predominantly it's just about a lazy mage goofing off and sometimes looking cool.
Sometimes.
Unlike the one-shot, the series shows a lot more background on the magical world, and I think it might characterize Osegawa better as a chill guy. He's simultaneously viewed as a prodigy, but also lazy. He has mastered and creates many spells, but often they're just mundane, like the muscle soreness healing spell. Freeran would probably get along with him swimmingly. I really like his philosophy too, that everyday life is important, a lot more than fighting, since that's what you usually have to bear with for most of your time. He frames this selfishly as wanting to create a pampered life where all his needs are met, but you come to see that there's a more altruistic side to him, which I think comes about fairly naturally. I don't think anything from the first 3 chapters was laugh out loud funny, but I do like its setting and find it entertaining, especially with how nonchalant the main character is. Him just lying down in the road is quite endearing. His honesty about being a mage is too. So far,
Hey,
how he's
Christ,
dealt
what's
with
going on, bro?
problems is a tad disappointing though. He's meant to have all these weird magics, which he could use to strategically take out foes, though he's pretty much just used water magic as his clincher a few times in a row now. Couple that with him being paired with the sidekick who just uses summoning magic, and gradually the core that attracted me is becoming further and further off, with the series feeling a bit more battle adjacent. So
That's
with
good,
those
that's good.
elements not clicking with me and me
Hope you're
not
having
finding
an
its
awesome
comedy
day.
all that funny, I'm having trouble really clicking with this one. Overall, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I didn't find myself too bored at all. The next few chapters will really test if it's for me though, since I feel it needs a bit more heart, or to be funnier with its comedy bits, maybe introducing more characters for Osegawa to bounce off of, or just something else. I don't think I'd mind it sticking all that much though, as its sleepy vibe is nice, but I do think it might clash with a series like Witch Watch. Similar subject matter, a focus on magic, it juggles multiple genres of it too. This doesn't have to be an instant no-no though, multiple things like this can exist. I do find that Osegawa just isn't very new. It doesn't excite me very much as a concept, potentially because we've had so many witchy or magic-focused manga recently. I've seen how magic can lead to comedic developments. I've seen how magic can be used in
Is that
cool ways for
Minecraft?
battle. Osegawa just doesn't have anything special in my eyes right now, but I look forward to it trying to change my mind with more chapters. A small update for Osegawa, or The Mage Next Door, it has recently added some new characters, just like I said might benefit it, but in all honesty I don't think it changed much, and if anything, I feel like they're very by the books, and the water gun is continuing to be used as the main finisher, which is a tad disappointing. Still, let's see how this develops, although I'm slightly less excited for future chapters. Hero Girl and Demon Lord Call It Quits, or JK Yusha to Inkyo Mao, is our third and final new manga of 2025, which for a while was rumored to be an isekai series, though that doesn't seem to be the case at all, which goes to show that you should be careful what rumors you hear about Jump manga and don't discount a series on these rumors.
Damn, those
I saw
eyes,
more
bro.
than a few
Look
people
at those
here and there
eyes.
disappointed or even unwilling to engage in this series, even though they hadn't even read chapter 1.
Hello.
Moving on, this is a series created by Matsuri Hatsubina, another newcomer,
Hello.
and they seem to have been quite active since 2023, with the one-shot Sekai Heiwa no Tame ni Yusha to Mao wo
They're
Kute
big, though.
Kumasu being published in Jump Giga about a hero and demon lord coming together romantically, effectively being a precursor to the new manga in Jump. More romance manga would follow with Koten no Muko Kimi no Koe, set in a more contemporary school infirmary setting, and then we'd get Mahou Shoujo Gekkojo Joto, an action comedy magical girl
Pretty
one-shot.
good.
Post these one-shots,
think.
the Hero Girl and Demon Lord Call It Quits one-shot would debut in early 2025, being quite popular apparently, which is backed up by the fact that it debuted as a series less than a
good,
year
everyone.
later. Matsuri Hatsubina's track record so far has been excellent. They haven't been around for very long, but have put out many one-shots. They've iterated on a few ideas, and their art improvement is stellar, going from some quite flat but charming illustrations to the art style they have now, which is incredibly bubbly, attractive, and full of detail.
Nope.
On the subject of art style,
Actually,
unfortunately for me, that's probably my
speed
favorite
right now.
aspect. It's cute and pretty, the expressions the characters make are funny, probably more so than Osakawa's. The core premise for this is pretty simple too, being a hero and demon lord stopping to fight because they're tired of it. The demon lord just wants to relax, to engage in human customs, and it's not like conquering the world is something he has to do immediately anyway. For a fun fact, this manga is kind of close to an older Jump comedy manga called Hell Warrior Mao, which sees the demon lord quit demon lording for a while to instead lift up the human race so they're more worthy of conquering. The setups might be different, but the general ideas and jokes
So wait,
they
let me
both
get this
make
straight.
are slightly
Make the
similar,
humans
which is neat
more
as they're 30
worthy of
years
conquer by
removed.
bringing.
Though I don't love every
making them better?
aspect, I do like some parts of Hero Girl and Demon Lord. The Demon Lord overall, his deadpan expressions, lax attitude, and him just wanting to chill is nice. My main problems with the work, or at least its initial chapter, is that it's a bit all over the place.
I'm gonna
A
help
lot
you get
happens
strong
just
so you
in
can fight
chapter
me.
1. We bounce from a fight to chilling in the apartment,
that feels
to
insultive,
school,
to
a
be
character
honest.
introduction, an immediate character betrayal, and fight with aliens. Then the Demon Lord has time stop powers. It's a lot for an initial chapter, and I think its stronger qualities get lost in a mess of everything. It's trying to do too much at once, when really all I want to see and all I think we should see is the hero
It's the
and
spread
Demon Lord's
salt.
initial transition to this new cozy lifestyle. The alien stuff is super overkill, and if this is a pattern for future chapters, I
hello?
might not enjoy it as much. It's a shame, since the end of the chapter is genuinely quite nice, with the Demon Lord asking what the hero wants for dinner that night. I understand having a crazy zany contrast to this, but in this case it really fell flat for me and didn't click. Fortunately, this is just the initial chapter. The next was a bit slower and is delivering on more of what I expected. This
Bry's like,
improvement already has me like it a bit more, showing it is gradually working on and refining itself. Things can change. It could keep slowing down, or even turn me around on some of its more bombastic, silly ideas.
Hey,
I'm
Sarah.
open to giving it a shot, which is true of every single manga here, which I'm discussing today. There are some more things I do want to comment on about Hero Girl and Demon Lord. Firstly is its usage of tropes and its tone. Initially, I felt this might be very different to the usual things Jump serializes, and while I think that's partially the case, it does have a Jump quality to it a bit. This is a super nebulous thing, by the way, but sometimes I will look at works and assess how they feel within the magazine, since I've read quite a lot of Jump manga. There is a bit of modernness to the series that I think would feel more at home elsewhere, like Shonen Sunday or something. Jump doesn't
for the
much
follow,
juggle the
Henrik.
hero demon lord idea. It has now and again, like I mentioned in Hell Warrior Mao, or heck, even the Dragon Quest manga, but I feel that's pretty far removed from how manga tackle it these days. That could also just be me unfamiliar with the trope's roots too. Mama Yu Yu is an example of a more modern series that visits this idea, so it's not like Jump can't have a series like this, but I do want to convey that Hero Girl Demon Lord being here feels very different, which isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, it's probably quite good that Jump has something that feels so different from everything else. It just adds more variety to the magazine. Another aspect about the series that might go unnoticed or even unexplored
Thank
is the
you.
protagonist being a magical
Thank
girl
you.
effectively.
Thank you, thank
She
you, thank you, thank you,
transforms
thank you.
and looks like one, and it would make sense
Thank you.
considering the author has a past magical girl one-shot. This is Mao Shoujo, a joke that I don't know if people will get, but I think is pretty clever. I deserve a pat on the back for it. This is totally a series that right now I'm not the hottest on, but I can see myself growing to love if it keeps doing what it's doing and
Hello,
throws a
Barbara.
few
What's going on?
curveballs. The third chapter of Hero Girl in Demon Mode was actually really funny, and I think I'm turning around on it a lot more. It's thriving when it focuses on the interpersonal elements between the two main characters and the jokes that spawn from that. And I think it's using RPG tropes for comedic fuel well too. It goes to show that it's sometimes good to let things cook a bit as initial chapters come out because your perception could turn around 180 like it's done for me here. Now that we've run through the 3 new series, let's talk about the magazine, how we interact with it, and how we interact with these new series. I think it's expected to an extent that I go through these works and evaluate whether or not they'll stay or whether or not they'll be a hit or cancelled. I have alluded to this while talking about them so far. I might have mentioned a similar series to them, which may impact their rate of success or failure, quote unquote. This is an aspect of Jump I've struggled to discuss over time, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a culture surrounding the magazine that's largely speculative. Due to Weekly Shonen Jump's high
doing this for my client,
it has to cancel and start new series frequently. We usually get at least 10 new series a year, and you're lucky if even half of those make it out of the year, never mind lasting a full year themselves. This opens a whole can of worms about how the magazine is structured and the nature of cancellations, but I'm going to ignore most of it for now, so we can just talk about how we talk about these works instead of us talking about the evils of weekly serialization. That's a separate video and topic that would frankly destroy my soul to talk about. Talking generally here though, I doubt all 3 of these series I brought up will have long fruitful runs. It's possible for sure, but unlikely. Manga in Jump gets cancelled. For now, this is just how things are. So then, what do we do with this information, or speculation, is what I want to touch on. For a long while, this has bred an environment where everyone is clamoring to guess which series will survive and be the new big thing, and which one will meet an untimely end, to the point where people will read the first chapter or even the first few pages of a manga and completely write it off as cancelled then and there. Removing yourself from the context of the magazine, this sounds utterly insane, but I understand where it comes from. We have over 50 years
what do you mean by
of
learn?
cancelling things. It's hard-coded into what the magazine is. This practice helped it
learning how to
cycle
draw?
through series so it could maintain a roster of high-quality titles that would propel it to the top.
No, I would not recommend. I would not recommend anime. I know it sounds. I know this sounds kind of contradictory on how I'm saying this, but I would not recommend doing anime first to learn how to draw. I would recommend to draw as realistically as possible. Because let me put it this way. Because the reason why I would say learn how to draw realistically as best as possible, I'm not saying go draw realism. I say draw realistically. So you can go and draw your anime. Okay, good, because if you're learning from realism and you have good expertise in that and understanding like proportions and all that stuff and anatomy and this and the third, you can apply that to anime much easier. It makes the job much easier because you know what you're manipulating, what you're modifying for it to fit in the particular art style / genre you're trying to break into. So I would recommend to at least learn realistically as possible. So let's say I said if you was my student, I would say to you, I know you may not want to draw realistically, and that's fine, or realism. So I would say try draw realistically as possible. So I'll use an example like Cowboy Bebop as the closest thing to that, or what's that one anime that used to play on Adult Swim? I forgot that one anime. It was like a very Chinese anime. I forgot what it was called. It had a woman. I would use like more realistic, or Bochi. Bochi is probably a good example. To a form of realism to a degree. I wouldn't use JoJo because JoJo's way too exaggerated for realism. Like, it used realistic tactics, but it used extreme exaggeration at the same time. I would use those as examples of realism. Or other anime, or you can say Vagabond could be one of them. I'll use Vagabond. Or maybe Berserk could be one of them, I believe. But I will try to stick with the more realistic looking ones for now, and then when you have a good understanding, then you can go break the rules and, you know, use more stylization, and you can draw your Dragon Ball Z's, your Bleaches and stuff like that, or yeah, Sunken Rock or anything like that. So you can look at those animes or those mangas if you prefer the manga. I would probably prefer the manga over the anime if you're trying to learn, because you can probably pull more from that. So
are cut short, and for as much as I hate the idea that the magazine is a machine designed to pump out hit manga to just print money, a part of me knows there's more to it than that. So I know every single manga in Shonen Jump has its author pour their heart into every single page, whether it was a success or not.
I don't really tell them to go and draw realism, because I know that can be a motivational killer, and then people don't want to draw no more, because most cases they got into drawing because of their favorite anime 9 times out of 10, or their favorite cartoon. Could be a cartoon, could be something westernized, but usually it's coming from anime 9 times out of 10 because it's just way more popular than even comic books to this day. Or so. You may have came here because you want to draw like Spider-Man, Superman, Wolverine, Batman, Wonder Woman, you know, Canary, you know, so on and so forth. Spectre, Doctor Strange, or Doctor Fate, you know what I'm saying? But like, I would suggest to, or you can learn from Westerners 9 times out of 10. They're more focused on realism than anime anyway. If you think of it like the more old type, or more like Jim Lee type stuff. If let's put it that way. If you like study Jim Lee, you might learn a lot from that. Or David Lynch.
What's next, not with authority, but convey that what I'm going to say is bolstered by my experience reading Jump manga and spending a long time talking and thinking about it. This to you might mean nothing, but to others who have watched my videos a lot, or who know me personally, they will know just how much the magazine matters to me and my strong connection to it.
The artist. I don't know if he's a director, but he is definitely an artist.
I enjoy a lot of discussion.
He has videos on YouTube.
And this has reached a point where it's actively frustrating hearing some of the things people say about it and the manga it serializes. In a perfect world, I could just disengage and enjoy things on my own merits, and maybe I should, but I'm somewhat ingrained in Jump. I talk to a lot of people who read it, I make videos almost exclusively on it, and I'm greedy. I, in my own small way, kind of want to change things. At first, I think I was going to use this video as an excuse to vent or be angry, but instead I want to appeal to anyone who is still listening to at least show you how I view Jump and want to talk about it. Through reading the majority of translated
if you type in David Lynch comic books, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Last long and meet abrupt
or
ends,
artist, you'll see he worked for DC and I think Marvel.
Just because something got cut doesn't make it any less worth reading. So looping to my issues, often due to this speculative discourse surrounding new series, people may read chapter 1, think it's not good or lacks something or other, and write it off as something to be cancelled. There are all sorts of people who will read things differently, and I can't tell you how to read or not read something, but I do think reading Jump manga to check if they tick these nebulous boxes only to label them as something cancelled is sad. This won't be the case for everyone, but many people will equate cancellation with something being bad or not worth reading. And then there will be some people who will not read these works just due to the very idea that something might be cancelled. It genuinely saddens me when I get comments or people tell me they don't want to read something because it could just be cancelled one day. I get that you don't want to waste your time, but what if the cancelled manga is enjoyable? What if you click with it despite it eventually ending? Everything has to end sometime, and sometimes those endings come prematurely,
that? What
but
is
it doesn't
Dropout?
make the journey that built up to them any less. For an extreme example, I could die tomorrow, and does that make my life building up to this point worthless? Maybe if you're a pessimist, you'll say yes, but I know countless people who would disagree. A less dramatic way to explain how I feel might be to point out my X-Files series, where I've covered cancelled manga for the last 2 years, and gradually I've noticed a lot of changes, and in particular, they're tied to
I think I've
why
heard
the
that
videos
before.
have grown bigger and bigger. I have changed. The manga I've read have changed me over time, and I've gotten a lot kinder to them. In a lot of
Wait, I think I
cases,
heard
I
that.
can see or feel what an author might be trying to
I think my
convey.
mods
And
wanted
for
to
the
do that
past
one
3
day.
big
I never got around to
X-Files
doing
on
it, but I
Mama
might do it
Yu,
with my mods.
Ayashimon, and Green Greens, all 3 have touched me in some pretty profound ways.
Or maybe my,
In the case of Green Greens
my students.
specifically, its cancellation makes it infinitely more interesting and hard-hitting. I'd recommend watching that video if you're curious why, but it tackles the subject of failure very well. It would then be a shame then if a lot of people just sweep series like this under the rug. Some do, some don't, some always will, but there might be some people I can sway. I can at least make you try to think a bit more about these series and how you talk about them around and with others. Sometimes I
gotta pay
worry
for
with
that.
my videos that I'm not using analytics enough. I'm not bringing up the data
Sorry.
people might want to see. Table of contents. For every X-Files or history video, I could cite these willy-nilly. I could bring up sales numbers to show something didn't do well. But for me, these are boring and often reductive ways to talk about and approach a series. My insecurities are kind of on full
Okay.
display here, I think. I always say that I want to make videos for me, and largely that is true, but I also want to interact with others too, in regards to the magazine. There is sometimes a pressure to talk about Jump in a certain way, but the more I do make these videos, the more I just kind of want to branch out. Sometimes I'll get frustrated with people who talk about the table of contents or sales too much, but in reality, a lot of that might be me frustrated with myself and my inability to decide with how I want to view and talk about Jump. There's a messy tangle in my head of all of these things regarding the magazine, it being this corporate entity, but also one powered by countless amazing artists. You have all of these great stories coming out which touch
Hey, what's
you
up, loading
deeply,
scene?
and then they end.
Not much, just doing our thing.
Just end because something new has to come because a number isn't high enough. But there's so many different numbers and variables we're just not privy to, which we probably don't need to be privy to. It's kind of confusing. It's hard to talk about. This is a subject I've thought about over and over since making the channel. There's a lot of just hard things to talk about in regards to Shonen Jump. It's a complex beast. After much pondering though, I want to put a focus on some less definable aspects, I think, as I talk about Shonen Jump and manga overall. Sentimentality, how a work makes me think or feel, analysis of what it might be trying to say, it as a living, breathing work of art. At my core, I'm not about numbers, there's no cold, hard calculations, but I think I just want to convey a care and softness for the works I adore, and even for some I don't. This doesn't mean I won't criticize things, but I think I've noticed I'm much more lenient than others in regards to a lot of manga. At the end of the day, it's tough to get past the idea that someone else made this piece of art I love so much, even if it's something that kind of sucks in some ways. I've gone a bit off track here, maybe. What does this have to do exactly with the 3 new manga in Jump right now? In short, I think we should be kinda more lenient and put a focus on enjoying or trying to find something in a work of art. We won't love everything. It is not our duty to love everything, but I think loving more things, more than hating or being neutral, would be good. My point ultimately is to give things a shot. All 3 manga we've talked about today, Gonron Egg, Osegawa, and Hero Girl and Demon Lord, you should read chapter 1 if you haven't already. See if they are for you. Chances are all 3 will not be for you, and that's totally fine. In no way do I want to force people to read things they don't want to read, but I do want you to try to engage with them. Don't let numbers or thoughts of others' views on Manga Plus, the Japanese reception, or the idea that they might be cancelled stop you from connecting to a piece of art. With weekly manga especially, the possibility for dramatic change week to week is there as well. I disliked manga only to come around to them chapters late. Enjoyed a work only for that enjoyment to slip over time. This is just how things play out sometimes.
Alright, I'll fix
But
up the
from my
hand in a
perspective,
second.
reading every Jump manga as they come out chapter by chapter, no matter if they get cancelled or not, is an exceptionally rich experience. My relationship with the magazine and the people who discuss it has evolved over time, but I've come to realize that I don't want to be an armchair analyst. I don't want to approach manga like it's the stock exchange. I'm here to talk about art and the stories people make. All artists want to convey various things, messages, feelings, their love of a particular topics. They might just want to make something fun in their own way to make you smile. You might not click with any of that, which is fine, but I do feel you have to meet them halfway. You have to be open to new things and to be open to engage with the work. Talking about where it fits in Jump through table of contents or how its sales arc can follow, but I think it's important to try to communicate with the work itself first, which is something that takes a little while too. A single chapter or even 3 I feel isn't enough to throw a damning judgment on a series. Saying it'll for sure get cancelled doesn't benefit anyone. It just feeds into speculation, upsets people, and makes some less likely to read the series to begin with. Again, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the statistical side of things, but keep in mind that someone out there made these works to connect with you. And that's everything I have to say, really. I hope it isn't too rambly and is understandable.
It was a bit rambly, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Alright,
let's jump out of here because I think he's done.
But I also want to communicate how I feel about Jump.
Alright, let's find something a little bit more exciting. Because these are a little talky, blowy. Let's see what more is up to. Some interesting takes. Preacher gets torqued on by. Nah, not that one. What the hell? Bro, what are you doing? She must be drunk.
Now, I just gotta say, that is just weird as F. Like, why are you... This guy... You know what? Guys, you know when it comes to me, I'm pretty open-minded about a lot of things. And I typically don't like political labels, but I suppose, based off of all the political tests I've taken, I'm like a center-left-ish individual, libertarian, classical liberal, you know, live, let live type of individual, right? Although the Overton window is shifting every year. But I just gotta say, I'm not really religious. I don't really consider myself a Christian. But if this guy wants to spread the word of God, apparently he's a preacher on the street, you know, just saying his Bible verses, I suppose, and spreading the word of God through his mic and his speakers. You know, many people do this on the streets and it's within their right to do so. But I just gotta say, why is it necessary to twerk on this man? Because he wants to spread his beliefs. I mean, he's not really touching anybody. He's not assaulting anybody. Why did she feel the need, literally, to start twerking on him, to start rubbing her eye? Like, this is weird. I don't get it.
This is really weird.
Bro, that is so ghetto, bro. So ghetto.
Jesus Christ loved you, and he died on the cross for you and for me.
I don't see the point of
you
doing
know, if this isn't a skit, bro, this literally actually feels...
You know what? I don't understand. Okay, say you're not agreeing with whatever he's saying. You don't have to engage with him. Just ignore him. Like, these same people will ignore a homeless man saying the world's going to end tomorrow. But they'll go and harass the preacher man who's saying the same thing. And the homeless man will be standing out there screaming and yelling, and no one will pay attention to him in the slightest. So...
It's like the demons are coming out like cockroaches to try and...
Because, like, even if you don't believe in his book... Like, even if you don't believe in his book, or whatever case may be, or his religion, that's fine. You don't have to engage with him. You don't have to touch him. You don't have to talk to him. Just ignore him. Just ignore him.
Stomp this man's word out. Like, again, I'm not really religious, all right? I'm not a Bible thumper, but I'm just saying, why are they all surrounding this man with cameras, yelling at him? You have one girl who's just like consistently shaking her ass at this guy. Like, what is the purpose of that? Why is the first
I don't know.
instinct for some women when they hear something they don't like is to start twerking at people? What
'Cause
even
she
is
feels
that? Where does
judged.
that
That's
come
why.
from?
So her inner demon comes out.
Then you got this one guy rubbing his nose as if he just did a line of blow, following him around, like, leave him alone. And guys, this video came across my feed, and I'm just like, I just felt like seeing the way this guy was being basically surrounded by a whole bunch of individuals. Now, it looks like everybody's in line for some kind of restaurant, I suppose. They're trying to get food, you know, coming out the bars, they're hungry, they want some food. So this guy's out here.
Steal their money. I don't know about those brain rot channels. I don't know about any. I don't know anything about brain rot, to be honest. I don't know anything about brain rot. So, I may not be the best person to ask this question, but if they're stealing money, well, I wouldn't fuck with that, though.
Preaching with his speakers. I know it can probably be a little annoying for people, you know, who aren't into the word of God. But I'm just saying, you don't have to approach him, you can film. But why are we all of a sudden approaching this man as if he doesn't have his First Amendment right in the land of the free United States of America to express himself and his beliefs?
Jesus Christ. Hey, this is the devil right here. Let's make him mad. Nothing to me.
Bro, I'm so confused. It is literally not that deep. And he proceeds to stick his middle finger up. My God. Yo, are people really this offended by the Bible and God?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely speaking, as an agnostic person myself, and I used to consider myself an atheist as well, but now I've kind of shifted back into agnism or agnosticism to where I'm open to accepting the possibility of a higher power being out there. I'm more on the spiritual side. I'm not really fond of the religious mandates in books written by men for what I believe to be ways to control the masses. That's just my beliefs. I don't mean to offend or disrespect anybody out there, but I'm just saying, back to the point, why do we have two guys kissing each other in front of a guy who's trying to spread the word of
No,
God?
because
Like,
they're
in
trying to
defiance,
upset
I
him.
suppose, of
They
what is
think
written in the
that's a
Bible.
win.
Like,
That's not a win. That's not a win. If that worked, that would have worked a long time ago. It's not a win.
genuinely speaking, if it offends you that much, then you probably shouldn't even be anywhere near this
him.
guy.
Yeah,
But I
that's
guess
what I'm
they're
saying.
trying
Do
to
not
protest.
engage. Like, that's the point. That's you want him to see you. You want to be acknowledged by the sole God you have a problem with. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't bother. I wouldn't even bother. So you do want to be acknowledged by his God. You just don't like the fact that he don't acknowledge you. So you have to go up there and do all this?
Again, and
That's
now
the
that I
problem.
get it, they're trying to provoke him, they're trying to agitate him. And of course, in the Bible, being gay or this particular type of activity is considered a sin. So obviously, you know, they're trying to troll him with kissing in front of him, two guys kissing and making out.
That's
and
not going to
stuff.
work. That's not how that works. That's not going to actually stop him. If anything, it's going to make him stay. That's the irony in that response. It's going to make him stay by default. You just proved that there's you just proved the point.
Yeah, they're trying to get a reaction out of him, obviously.
Honestly, I just think majority of these people are just probably drunk. I'm just going to come to that conclusion that majority of these people are just probably drunk. And they're just acting out whatever they're feeling at the moment. I think this is what's happening.
Are they saying, we know you love D, we know you love D, we know you love D? Bro, see, these people, and I just gotta say this, are two sides of the same coin. So you have the religious people out here who wanna, you know, I guess push their stuff, their beliefs onto people who don't necessarily believe in that stuff, right? Like the people who walk up to your door trying to spread the word of God. Have you heard about God and all this, right? Trying to convert you, right? I forgot what sect of Christianity.
I think that's Jehovah's Witness, if I remember right.
The extreme flip side of that, you have the secular people, right? Who are into all kinds of like modern ideologies that conflict with the religious scripture. And they're out here too, constantly trying to berate and push their own ideologies onto people who don't necessarily.
They're the same thing. Oh, you're a professional. But then again, it's like the thing is here, it's like they're both they're two sides of the same coin. You become what you hate. It's what it is. You just change your religion for something else. You just call it modernism. That's it.
Really believe in those either. And I just gotta say, as a person who isn't on either camp, I find them both annoying. But you wanna know what I'm not gonna do? Is I'm not gonna go up to any of them, assault
And
them,
harass them.
technically,
Yeah, it makes no
sexually
sense.
assault them like that young lady was doing to
Makes
this
no
man,
sense.
twerking on him. Like, ladies, please do not do that. That is weird. Unconsensual touching of one's buttocks onto the groin area or the leg area of another individual that just so
But this is funny. She will not get someone religious, but she'll twerk on someone who's religious. Man, the word of God. You know what? You should be a man of God. I got this woman twerking on you for no reason. You just what? Think that to yourself. She doesn't want no one who's religious, but as someone who's speaking scripture outside on a mic, she makes her go and twerk on him. Might as well just be a man of God at that point, because she's not twerking on anyone who's not speaking it. Might as well be a man of God. It has its benefits without realizing it. It was if anything, you be a man of God screaming out here with your mic, making this girl twerk on you as a passive at that point, because she's automatically doing it.
Happens to be a man is not cool.
That's
unless
crazy.
there's body language or consent that indicates that they want that type of energy. Do not do that. That is
I bet you anything. Yeah, really. Oh, you know what? You're right. That's why she's twerking. Yeah, that's right. Actually, I wonder if it will be different. Let's switch the roles. Let's say it was a girl doing this, a woman doing this. Would you, if anyone's assaulting her, okay, no, I'm not gonna say that, but anyone to assault her, would it be okay if a man ran up on her and started twerking on her too? I bet you instantly people will jump him. I bet you instantly people will jump him to a degree, especially if he's like a hetero. If he's not, then they're probably them be. Straight up.
You certainly would not like that happening to you if the roles were reversed and man putting his sausage on your ass. Stop that. And secondly, for people who want to like protest ideologies or belief systems that you don't like, you can do that from afar. Do not get up in people's faces. Do not touch them. Do not berate them. Do not assault them. That's weird. And it's completely unnecessary, in my opinion.
Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. The Bible says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, so that if anybody believes in him, they will not perish but have everlasting life. So turn to Jesus Christ.
You know what's actually funny? Towards the ending there, you actually had people sitting down on the curb actually listening to what this guy had.
Because remember, he's not talking about the orientation side of it. He's just saying the most known one of all of the scriptures. That's the most known one amongst even non-Christians. They like that one out of all of them. Because it doesn't really apply to them, which it does. But it also doesn't directly to them. But it does. But they don't see it that way. That's what everyone actually knows. Everyone knows that one, even if you're not a Christian, you're religious. You know that one. You heard that somewhere before, whether on accident, on purpose, or just watching a movie, a scary movie. You heard that term at least one time, whether you wanted to or not.
Had to say, like, you know? And in my opinion, that's the way to do it. Sit down, have a debate, be civil. No need to attack each other. No need to assault each other over words that may offend you. You know, it's just like we need to live in a civilized society where people can come to the table and debate each other without bullets being shot in the neck or being punched in the face or being swatted, doxxed. I wish we could live in that society, but, you know, we have assholes who go around doing shit like this. Like, girl, why are you twerking on him? You know, we'll have her coming back like, I mean, why did she do that multiple times? Then we have this guy running up in his face, walking down on him like he wants problems. Like,
I tell you, if she was twerking on him, right, and he turned around and engaged her and such, I wonder if she would have walked away. I wonder if they would engage from that point. I wonder what would have happened. I'm very curious what would have happened in that situation.
is that necessary? The same girl getting in his face with a flashlight on. So she's literally filming her ass as if, like, what is she doing? This is not cute. Then we have these two guys, these two weirdos. Like, why are you making
I think majority
out
of these people are just drunk.
in front of him like this? Bro, I don't even like seeing straight people randomly making out like this.
Yes,
in
like,
broad
no one likes seeing that. Like, come on. Let's be honest. When you're at, like, the bar or at the club or something like that, and you see a bunch, like, two people kissing, you don't want to see that. Like, especially when you see two, like, a man and a woman kissing. You don't want to see that shit. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to say anything because you might think they're just drunk and stupid. They're just being stupid and drunk. That's the only reason we won't say anything. You want no problems. But, like, 9 times out of 10, if you ask anyone, do you want to see two people kissing? It's like, no. You don't want to see no woman kissing no man. You don't want to see that. No one want to see that shit. Because it just makes you feel bad that you have nobody to kiss.
daylight, or it's nighttime.
Oh, no.
But I'm just like, bruh, why are we doing this? Like, in the middle of the street, too. Now, I guess there's some type of function. But I'm just saying, the context of which this is happening
I think it's a
is
club. They're coming out of the club.
Weird. And then, of course, in the title, the headline of this video, they say multiple women attempted to force themselves on a preacher, then men called him gay for rejecting their advances, right? Because,
but no, he's saying, like, in the sense of, like a public situation. Like, I don't want to see that.
Said it's called sexual harassment. Let's start using the correct terms. Another person said, God forbid a man have self-respect. Another person said, because most people have no real values, morals, integrity, or desire to better themselves, they shift with the wind. And another person said, demons. I cast you out, unclean spirit. It's funny, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below about this. What do you think about this? Honestly, bro, I just think a lot of this is unnecessary, and it genuinely seems a lot of people are offended by the words in the Bible. Again, just as a disclaimer, and this is coming from somebody on, who's not really a Bible
someone they know.
The reaction that these people had does seem a little demonic. Like, why are you being so triggered by, some guy with a speaker, I guess, reading the Bible out loud or preaching in the streets? Like, bro, kind of weird. Anyway, thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think about this? And if you have any other videos or topics you want me to cover, react to, talk about, or articles to cover, you already know what to do. Hit me in the DMs or tag me on TikTok. And yeah, guess we'll look at you in the next one.
Is it in here? You can't find it? No. Hold on, guys. Okay. Hold on, I just gotta turn on the light. I think Chrissy has it. I believe she has it. Get the holy water! Oh, you did? Okay. This knee, when you bend the knee to the vocal left, I don't care about that. Jump scares, don't care about that. Let's see here. What is this? So this is Jim Lee.
Holding what we all know to be
this is
a
Jim
bag of
Lee,
erasers.
everyone.
But why am I showing this to you? It's because it symbolizes something more.
So I think what he's gonna say here. This is Jim Lee. It says every skill comic artist needs to learn. So I think what Jim Lee is about to show is that try to throw away the erasers and try to draw out using an eraser. So this is who I'm referring to for those who are learning to draw. You can look at Jim Lee's work and practice and work what he does if you want to draw more realistically and understand like human body stuff.
It's because this is the closest we get to Jim Lee actually teaching us directly what I believe to be his most valuable lesson for comic artists of all skill levels. It's a hidden lesson that will transform how you draw and more than likely grant you better results in your artwork. But what is it? The funny thing is, you could watch a whole live stream.
Oh, he's using a marker. You can't erase. Okay, let's go.
From Jim Lee about anatomy and posing, and still not realize this powerful tool has been staring you right in the face. What Jim Lee does, but never really speaks about, is his ability to erase without hesitation, attachment, or fear.
Sup.
But what does that really mean? These are all things Jim Lee teaches you if you
I'm
pay
gonna look at it in a
enough
second.
attention in his live streams. Jim Lee, if you don't know,
Sylph.
is one of those superstar comic artists from the 90s that the old guys talk about.
It's a staggering feat to sell over 8 million copies.
He got very famous for drawing X-Men, starting Image Comics, and later basically becoming the house style for DC Comics after he became a co-publisher.
He does suck as a CEO running Marvel. I think it's Marvel or DC, one of those two. But he's a great artist. He's one of the best artists I can see in the West. But he sucks as a CEO.
He's a big deal, and his process is worth digging into.
Yes.
Also, be sure to stick around to the end because I have a few things you shouldn't do when studying Jim Lee or this cool, unspoken mindset. You know that feeling when you finally nailed the right angle on a face or managed to foreshorten an arm that looks natural or even just drew a character to your liking? You sit back with a sigh of relief after you drew it, and then you realize the character isn't facing in the right direction, or like the hand is backwards or something. And now you're confronted with a choice, one that can be met with hesitation, attachment, and fear. Hesitation because
life sucks, yeah, pretty much, but it does pay well.
Is in full effect. Attachment because, dang it, you really like how that looked.
Deku!
Even though it doesn't serve the story, it will impress people if you show them.
Good job.
And fear because there's a sinking feeling deep inside you that maybe you might not be able to draw that well again. Well, this is not a choice for Jim Lee. Jim would have already erased it. And suddenly, the hesitation, attachment, and fear is replaced by curiosity, playfulness, and confidence. Now, before you start saying, Jim is only erasing quickly here because he's working through very rough sketches, I present you this. That's right, Jim Lee will erase confidently and without hesitation, no matter what. So that's what it means. But how does that transform your drawing?
Confidence, line confidence.
Number one
consciousness
is stream of consciousness. This is an idea that stems from writing and storytelling, but I think it's a good way to explain this stuff. And in the case of art, it's allowing the artist to try out lines, poses, and compositions without any of the barriers to entry. Jim Lee shows this off constantly. He's moving from idea to idea so quickly that not only does he never question the decision of erasing, but he doesn't even erase fully. Without the choice of whether to erase or not, the artist can focus on what really matters. Having fun and dwelling within the space.
You guys see that when I do my speed arts. Sometimes when I'm doing a speed art, I'm not thinking about like I see the reference, yes, but then again, I'm not trying to be super perfect. I'm just trying to get the idea on paper first. I don't try to worry about if it's perfect, if the anatomy is 100%. We can always do that in post. That's not important. We need to get the idea out first. So that's why when you guys say, "Why do you draw so fast? How do you draw that fast?" Because so it makes, because what you're doing, you're reacting while not thinking. So you're ultra instincting your way through it. Yeah, so you're like on autopilot. When you do it enough with enough practice, it becomes autopilot over time. So you're not thinking, you're just responding. It's like your body's literally going ultra instinct. I don't have to think.
He's creating, transforming his art into something much more personal.
The Ultra Wumbo. That's better. Ultra Wumbo. I like that. It's
Number
better to
two
say
is
ultra
freedom.
instinct.
This one is big. The freedom to choose
Ultra
the best
Wumbo.
option, or rather
like
to investigate the best artistic possibility, will automatically transform your art into something more unique. Generally, when you draw, many of your first few passes or attempts will be mere imitations of what your brain's kicking back to you from your visual library. Jim Lee demonstrates this for us in his free flow sketching, and it feels so special to watch him because we get to share in that process of freedom. Jim Lee shows that erasing without the baggage allows for the limitless possibilities that come with that freedom. Number 3, a live performance. Jim Lee teaches us that the energy will remain in your work when there are no redos and everything remains on the same artboard. That's his process.
And
There's
that
an ebb and flow
clipboard.
of how you work with the tools. And not putting extra pressure on your eraser allows for it to become much more than a mistake fixer. It's just another part of the performance. A subtraction rather than an addition.
David Lynch.
If you accept the stakes of the live performance of art and find the balance between your pencil and your eraser, it'll start to feel like Jim Lee's process, which will guarantee you a little more energetic feeling in your finished result. Let's talk about how to put this into practice. So here's the Kill Your Darlings exercise to help. First, grab your sketchbook or some scrap paper and find something to draw that's either from life or a photo. Make sure to draw something that is kind of mildly difficult for you to draw. Now draw it with your pencil and eraser. So once you like the look of it, and I mean really like it, really feel proud of it, no matter how much you don't want to, pick up the eraser and erase half of it. Now redraw what you just erased in a different way. Notice how you feel when you finish the first drawing, and how you feel when you erased part of it, and also what happened when you redrew it. All these feelings you need to get used to. The more you practice this flow, the more you'll overcome the hesitancy in your attachment to your drawings. This hidden lesson from Jim Lee is so powerful.
I think I said that to the other day. I think the worst thing you can do to yourself as an artist, especially if you're just doing a sketch, is falling in love with it. Like, never fall in love with the drawing, especially at the very beginning stages. This is why I don't understand when people are watching me do a sketch. They're quick to say that the character's naked. When I didn't draw their hair, I didn't draw their face, I didn't give them a nose, I didn't give any muscle shading, nothing. They just worried about the body in general. Yeah, like the other romantic girlfriend. But like, I wouldn't never fall in love with the artwork off rip just because it looks kind of decent. Yeah. They just get weird and they can't actually, why is she naked? I'm like, bro, I didn't even draw her head yet and you're worried about her body? Like, yeah, I'm working on the body, but why are you worried about that? It's not even done. Like, that's you included.
But it doesn't replace the hard work and the diligent studying of the fundamentals. In fact, the more that you're a capable and studied artist, the more this mindset will reach its full potential.
This is why a lot of you keep asking, why don't you do a full sketch or a full like drawing? Because most of the time I'm just learning how to improve. A lot of you get too focused on trying to make everything into an artwork. Yeah, I'll draw a man completely muscles. I drew a dude in his Speedo and no one said anything crazy. They didn't say anything wild. Nothing. Oh no, only one person asked, are you gay? Because I drew a dude in a Speedo. That was only the one time out of the 60 or 70 people who either gave me praise or just watched. But as soon as I draw a mannequin that looks like this, oh my god. It comes out the woodwork. Everything leads to Rome. I know what type of man you are. Make them bigger. Why are you drawing this? Everything under the sun. You get every question from extreme, like, almost threats to, like, nearly, like, beloved praise. It's weird. So
with that being said, there are three things you shouldn't do when studying Jim Lee, especially with this lesson in mind.
What?
Number one, don't try and match his speed. Jim Lee draws fast. No surprise there, but the speed comes with experience, and not with just laying down lines fast. While it may feel good to loosely scribble without the thought behind it, or erase with reckless abandon, it will ultimately lead you to worse outcomes. Erase without hesitation, but don't draw so fast to lose your thinking. And especially, don't draw so fast to keep up with Jim Lee.
Yes.
Number two, don't try and match his style. This lesson is all about the approach, and unless you're specifically doing a study on Jim Lee, it is highly recommended to not just copy his work. Don't negate the freedom of erasing without hesitation by simply copying another artist's choices. So number three, don't feel like you need to replicate his process. Jim Lee shows us that erasing without all the mental baggage is a huge helper in general, but we are all individuals with different tendencies. So match the mindset, but not the exact process. Do what feels right to you and not what feels right to Jim Lee. There are a ton of lessons you could learn from watching Jim Lee sketch. So I suggest you go subscribe and follow him on Twitch and on YouTube and really understand all of his process. Watching his streams are really informative. You can learn way more than what I'm talking about here. Real things like balancing the masses of a figure, creating easily readable silhouettes, and eyeballing perspective are some of the standouts.
Good when he's out there.
But In this lesson in particular, erasing without hesitation, attachment, or fear, it's one that is super important and I think will transform your art more than any other. I hope this video made you reconsider how you draw and possibly remove any of that negative resistance to erasing. My goal with this channel is to help people find a clear route to drawing the comic art they admire so much. And I have a few really cool announcements coming very soon for those people. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my videos where I give you the best ideas and tips from the talented comic artists in their live streams. And if you're interested in getting quick and easy art tips that you can read in just a couple minutes, delivered to you every week in your email, sign up for Good Art Tips. Join the good guys and get a little more inspiration to take your art even further. Lastly, follow me on X. We'll see you next time. Be good.
Hello.
And if you notice, I erase a lot. So I'm mentally making adjustments all the time.
Is it? Is that a lot? A lot of people? Square Enix destroyed by shareholders? Wait, what? Not just tips, but the actual process. So I have a hot take, Netflix and Warner Bros. I kind of want to see. Okay, let me hear your opinion on this.
What's up, y'all? Before I get started, I want to say thank you for the continued support. Our first ever crowdfund launched the other day. Actually was a stealth drop.
I know you're about the Ripper first, but I want to see like what is your. I want to see his opinion on that.
Head over to ripperverse.com or ripperworks.com if you want more information on that. But I have a hot take here. Okay, there's a lot of discussions happening right now with the deal with Netflix and Warner Bros. A lot of people are attempting to derail it.
Good.
The industry looks at it as this would be the final nail in the coffin, so they have their own interests.
Let's see here.
You have those that are looking at it from other perspectives as well of culture. And if we just set aside the legal aspect,
okay, so that means if Netflix has WB, they have the Looney Tunes, they have Scooby-Doo, they have Game of Thrones, they have what? They have Steven Universe, I guess. If they kind of see Steven Universe as a thing on its own, even though it's part of like the Cartoon Network. They have all of Cartoon Network, don't they? Right? They have all Warner stuff, right? Oh, I'm not making it. This is not original to me. This is for my client. I already know what this is going to look like. I'm just trying to get the angle right. They have all of Cartoon Network characters. So that means they have all Hanna-Barbera characters, right? Mysterious Inc. Mystery Inc. Yeah, I think so. They have all Cartoon Network characters. That means they also have all Hanna-Barbera, right? Oh my god, that's... Ugh. And I don't like Netflix as it is. Like, they're gonna be super woke then. Then again, I wouldn't say woke because like everyone's kind of pivoting away from it. But I don't know if Netflix was kind of like the first bastions of doing this, so I don't know if they're going to like pivot from that. Yeah, they have every Cartoon Network character you can probably think of, from Samurai, from Courage the Cowardly Dog to your Adventure Time to your Samurai Jack to your Scooby Doo's to your Looney Tunes, anyone that came out on Cartoon Network, any original show from Cartoon Network, they have. Dexter's Lab. Yeah, they did. They did release Cuties. There's Foster's Home. So wait, there's Foster's Home. There's Dexter. There's Johnny Bravo. They have all Hanna-Barbera characters. Oh god, they have Ben 10. They have Flapjack. They have Chowder. Billy and Mandy. They have I don't know if anyone remembers this, but Robot Jones. Does anyone remember Robot Jones? I'm old. I'm showing my age on that one. Robot Jones or Sheep in the Big City. Wait, don't they have Tanami then? Oh my god, they have Tanami. they have, bro. They have. They have Tanami. They have oh my god. Oh my god. They have Cartoon Network. They have they have Adult Swim. Bro, they have Adult Swim. Yeah, they have DBZ. They have Naruto. I think. They have Birdman, yeah. They have Space Ghost. They have the Blue Falcon. They have who else? What's another one I can think of? Oh, they got Jabberjaw. For those, I'm sure I'm age on that one too. Jabberjaw, the Hanna-Barbera characters. They have Hong Kong Phooey. They have Hong Kong Phooey. Phew, that's a lot. Yeah, because if they have Robot Chicken, they have Adult Swim. Actually, when I think of it now, if Netflix has Warner, doesn't that mean they can revive multiverses again? I don't think they'll do it because they do have their gaming division. You think they'll put multiverses over there? Wait, wait, bro. If Netflix has Warner, that means they can they put out or at least try to use the Nemesis system for video games? Oh my god, dude. Think about it. They have the Nemesis system. The one that was used in the Lord of the Rings game. They can use the Nemesis system. Bro. Yo, cool that will be if they did. And then with the rise of AI, they can combine the Nemesis system with AI technology. They have the money. Like, think about it. Oh my god. They can revive the Wonder Woman video game that was gonna come out that got canceled by David Zaslav, I think his name is. Oh my god. And given how Netflix is super woke, they might even revive the cat was it cat? No, the Batgirl series. Oh snap! Wait, do they have? Wait, doesn't Warner own the CW? The Amazing Digital Circus. Yes. Yes, I know what that is. I seen them. I seen it. I think everyone said episode 8 will be coming out soon. I think, or is it 7? 7 or 8? One of those two. So. But yeah, when I think of it now, they should use those if they want it, because I know that Netflix really want to push their so-called gaming division nonsense, which I don't know why they got into gaming. When I hear gaming, I'm not thinking Netflix. I haven't heard anyone said there's a breakout game that came just for Netflix. So I don't know how that's gonna play out. But if they do have Warner, they can use the Nemesis system. Yeah.
Just for
they're gonna abstract Jax. Not the latest one, but I'll watch it after this.
Of this conversation, let's set that aside. Let's assume that for the sake of the conversation, it can happen. Okay, legality aside. The people that worry, for example, with the culture, saying that now Netflix, the streamer, maybe they have conflicting ideological views, and they now have control of these properties that have been around for ages.
Dropping?
Longer than many of you have been alive. Longer than many of
your
parents have been alive.
When I think of it now. Wait. I don't think it was smart for them to get Warner then, because didn't they just recently got a massive drop in subscribers because of Elon Musk saying the woke stuff that was pushed on children? Was that such a hot move to go buy in Warner, given that majority of the IPs you have do gears mainly to children? Like half of that is mainly children. The other half is like a Game of Thrones, I guess the CW with their woke nonsense. I think Warner owns CW. Just part of me kind of want to buy that stock now. 75 USD. That's. Are you serious? Let me see. Let me see. Net stock. 92. Bro, I don't know. Bro, I might buy a stock. I'm not even kidding. Netflix is always, listen, as much as I hate Netflix and I hate how woke they are, they never been defeated. They started this whole streaming thing anyway. Think about it, guys. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I hate Netflix too and how they do things. I get it too. I'm with you. But like, when you really think about it, if you got $92 in your bank, you can buy some stocks. You know what I'm saying? Netflix never been defeated. Yeah. So, I don't know. Oh yeah, Hero 108. I remember that. And then what was that? Skunk Fu? Those two shows was destroyed because they was just played in the morning where kids was not even watching because they was at school. Or it was just so late in the game. I was like, why? It's like 4 a.m. in the morning that will play on a weird Sunday or something. But yeah, like this is $92. I think I would buy this because as much as I hate like Netflix, they have not been defeated. Every other streaming services is either merging with each other or just shutting down. It was something I see in the afternoon, and I would never see it in the afternoon. I always saw it like in the morning. Like if you was sick from school, and you was up late, and you know you're not going to school tomorrow, you was watching TV while in bed. If you got to watch TV, depending on how your parents were structured things. If you was up late and you was sick and you was watching like Cartoon Network past Adult Swim, I think it was either Hero 108 or like Skunk Fu was on. No, wait, no, Skunk Fu will come on in the afternoon time for some odd reason, but 108 will come on in the morning, and then that other show called Scaredy Squirrel. Don't know what that was about. I like honestly, I didn't think that show was ever funny. It was generic as hell, never funny. It was just like, it was just there, like for the sake of being there, like yakety yak. It was weird, like on Nickelodeon.
And we just can't have that happen. And the others that are looking at it from the perspective that this is not good for the industry, we have to save the cinema and the theatrical releases
Wait,
for the sake
Oh wait, don't they have
nostalgia and
the rights for
tradition
that?
and all these other things. And to that I say, so what? Let's assume that they did have this go through. My argument on this has been very, very consistent.
Caillou?
Okay, and I
Oh,
say
that was
this
on
as someone
PBS,
that is
I
an
think.
entertainer. I also say as someone that has been in my own actions as how I run my company.
Okay, now I'm gonna
A
turn
big
this
proponent
down.
of physical media. Okay, I'm not a big fan of things going digital. Okay, as they have been over the last years, I'm not, and I've shown you that. And still, I'm even saying, so what? Mainly because this is my argument.
Fox, you just bought them? I just bought 4 shares just now from Netflix. Are you serious?
Or the West. Let's just
If you
say
do,
the
I might
West.
do it
We can
too.
look at Hollywood, but more this is just a Western issue, okay?
I might do the
Let's say
same.
the West. We hit this stop gap like a wall creatively, probably going into the 2000s. And I don't really understand.
Nice, okay. I might do the same.
The fact that folks fear that, well, they'd have control of all these other properties. Look at what they can do. We've already seen so many properties
they
get
do have that,
bastardized
right?
by Netflix as well as by Warner anyway.
Wait, hold on.
The difference
I'm just
between our
thinking,
generations and the ones that predate us,
Fox, are you still
is
here?
that they were creating. That's why they became cultural phenoms.
Yeah.
Is that they just created new things, new entrepreneurs, new creators, new teams, studios came by. And I'm not saying that everything needs to be this massive blockbuster, but it can be respectful and like get support in its own right. There's nothing wrong with that. Why does it always have to be tied to the nostalgia? Everything else moves on, but for some reason We have to keep it like this old broken archaic model that is the cinema experience anyway. And
Because the reason why to answer that question, I think to answer that legitimate question, the reason why it ties back to the nostalgia because it worked. That's why. Because it worked. Plus, it wasn't considered offensive. If he's talking about the nostalgia of like the properties themselves, that wasn't offensive. People wasn't offended. The internet wasn't like the internet how it was. People just went with the pushes how things are. Like if this is an example. When a show was on if a show was on a TV show, you just accept it for what it is. You didn't hope for the cancellation of a show, right? If a show got canceled back in like the 90s, 80s, 70s, or the 60s, something heinous happened, right? Like someone died, like a crucial character died or something. Joy's like Peppa Pig, Chowder, and even Puka as adults. So like that's why it worked, and you accept it for what it is, right? Back in the day, you didn't have to worry about if my show's gonna get canceled or the Grinch robbed you, right? Like the thing is like shows back then, if a show was on TV, once the show was on TV, you just assume it's forever gonna be there. As a kid growing up, if you get what I'm saying. As a kid, growing up, when you see a show, whether it's a cartoon, a sitcom, a movie, or something, it was on TV, it's stuck there forever in your head. It's always going to be there. Even you hated the show or not, you just know it's like once it's associated to a certain network or program, it's stuck there, right? And you always think you can always go see it at any time. Now, if you see a show, most cases, you can look at a trailer of a new show, whether there's a movie, a season of a show, whether there's a cartoon, not an anime, like just those Western properties. If it's made by Westerners or someone, usually people from the West, you can look at it and say, that's not going to last. I give it 5 episodes. That too, that was a thing. Sometimes they didn't even have a trailer. Sometimes they just had a new show, right? Sometimes like if they had a new show, the show was coming out that week. Like, especially a cartoon. If it was a new cartoon, it's coming out the following week. Or the literal next month. It's not coming out like 10 months, like a year from now. No, it's coming out next month. Right? So, like, when you look at a trailer now, you can look at a trailer and say, oh, that's woke, I'm not watching that. Or, it's not even woke. Like, it just doesn't, it looks generic, I'm not going to watch that. It looks like something I've seen before, I'm not going to watch that. Or you can say, like, I think that's going to have 1 season at max, that's it. Just like She-Hulk. You look at She-Hulk, you saw what happened in She-Hulk, 1 season, forever gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's shows you look at and be like, nah, not gonna work, not gonna last. It's seen this either before, done it before, or it's being done before, but it's a cheaper version. It's not even expanding upon what it's before. Yeah, they will do that. And yes, that's a perfect example. Toonami did this. They will have like a new anime out of nowhere. And it either was a hit or a miss. If it was a hit, it just stopped playing. It just stopped playing. They will not even say it's canceled. They will just say it stopped playing. Especially when it's not that popular. And they knew what shows was popular. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they'll put the best shows in the far back. So they'll put the crappier shows first. And they'll put the more, the shows that people want to watch. Like Bleach. Like, I'm saying Adult Swim, but like Adult Swim at the time. They'll put like, or Toonami. Toonami would put like, everyone wanted to see Naruto. But no one really was familiar with One Piece. So they put One Piece in the front. Like, One Piece was popular, but was not as popular as Naruto, like, recognition-wise. It was popular. It's way popular more. I think it's more popular than Naruto now than ever. But, like, it was not as, like, regarded as the same as Naruto, because One Piece was considered that pirate show from the Fox Kids or, what do you call it? The 4 Kids show. The 4 Kids show with pirates went on Cartoon Network. That what most people kind of assume it to be. They had, yeah, they had, yes. So like, and the weird thing was it like 4 Kids was so censored up the brim that they know they was not getting any no play. So they said, you know what, take our show and chuck it to correct, yeah, they'll do that. Like try, yes, it was like that. So like they'll take like One Piece, right, and they'll chuck it first because it already had that horrible that recognition of like, oh, it's that pirate show and it's kind of like weird and characters are just so goofy and like everything's goofy. And I think most of that goofiness not even stem from the writing. It stemmed from the voice acting, the writing, and well, not even the writing. It's the voice acting, the changes, and just the overall ridiculousness of the show. But now when the show got revamped back and back to what it was supposed to be, it was a lot more regarded to what it is. You two compared anime. Times are sad being adult and nostalgia doesn't hit the same anymore. I understand. Because the nostalgia that kept you in check, you either, two things the nostalgia did, it made you feel very appreciative now of what it was then, or you really looked at this and like, wow, this was not as good as I remember it, but it's way better than what it was now. It's like it may not be that great when you rewatch it, but it's not as bad as what is trying to be imitated now. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. It's like, let me use an example, like Samurai Jack. So the Samurai Jack ending, the conclusion to that, because the guy's on like last season for the the previous show, it felt rushed. And it didn't feel all that Samurai Jack. It just felt like we was closing a book just to get it closed, right? But if you go back and watch the nostalgia of Mighty, you should try to make Michael try and like make the chocolate go away. So like if you look at the old Samurai Jack shows, the old Samurai Jack was fun to watch because they had that nostalgia and that awe, right? And the writing was pretty, it was John Wick. Like literally watching Samurai Jack is like watching like children's John Wick in the future with a sword. That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? Brown cows give great chocolate milk. But yeah, so like back in those, like it's just weird. So this is why I can answer the question. The reason why these shows are being picked up or being used again is because the nostalgia worked. But the reason why the nostalgia doesn't work because they have to adhere to today's rules. But back then, those rules was just normal and naturalized. This is forced. So this is where this problem keeps happening. Once we start realizing that the ways that was before was way better than the ways are now, you can get a hit show. You can take any of these old shows and get a hit out of all of them if you keep them the same. That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
And I'm not saying that the model itself needs to go. I want to be clear on that. I think that a lot of people need to understand that we've already raised this generation of people that are now adults, these Gen Zers, who that wasn't their go-to experience like it was when we were coming up, going to the cinema on a Saturday, not even knowing what you're going to see, just looking at what's on the deal and saying, oh, we'll go check that out. And that was about it.
And I remember I was watching a YouTuber talk about something really specific, and he made a lot of sense out of this. He said, the reason why things, like, he's not excited for new stuff anymore that comes out, or even things that are being remade, is because back in the day, when something was brand new, it was brand new that day, right? Like I said with the Cartoon Network thing. So like, because most cases back then, when you had a new show or a new video game, there was no trailer. It was just a commercial, right? And there was no gameplay trailer. There was no interviews with the game artists or the devs or anything of that crap. If a game looked good and looked fun and it had a commercial, that was it. That was the Soundboard. That was the whole thing, right? Nowadays, before the games comes out, you already see gameplay of it before, right? So it's like the that wanting to play a game kind of cheapens a little bit more as time goes by. So by the time the game's out, your expectation is so low. Or it's kind of meh. It's kind of mid. Let's say it's more. It's not even low. It's mid because it's like, okay, I know what the game's about. I can see what the game's is. I can see myself playing it, but it's not the same as like seeing a game you see very interesting for the very first time of a commercial one time, and you only got one time to see it, like within a minute and a half, and then you like make a choice if you want it or not. And it's gonna be the same trailer over and over again. It's not gonna be a new trailer. It's not because like, let's say like most like video games have like 3 trailers. If it doesn't work, fine, you try special mushrooms. So like that's where that problem comes in.
It was a gathering. It was something that you did with your family and your friends. That's not really a thing that happens. Everything that we see success now, definitely in the big blockbuster sense, is for the most part a blip, or it's tied to an already existing property. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It has been around for a little bit. I believe Zootopia is kind of more of even more of an outlier because of how relatively new that property is, and of course how good it's doing internationally, right? But that's not. We all know, and that's why they're so protective of Hollywood right now of this deal not going through, because they understand that the only way that they can continue to get paid in the way that they get paid, by the millions, is in
subscription.
Propping up these studios and propping up this this sort of release system, even though it's on the decline. So you have the blip, and then on the other hand, you have the worst October in 25 years, and that's because if you go by ticket sales, because inflation is actually helping these guys out. Because you look at the box office, and they're like, oh, something hit $500,000 or above. $500,000 ain't even oh, it's not $500,000. Excuse me, $500 million is not $500 million 5 years ago. You go on my ticket sales, everything's down. That's just the way that things are right now. But still, I do believe that there's a place for the cinema stuff. I just think that it's going to be a little more artisan, maybe a little more niche. And maybe the theaters themselves are going to have to sell people on the experience, right? And these studios are going to have to get these budgets under control. Maybe these guys aren't going to be making several tens.
The only way studios now have to get people into the theaters is that they have to sell you something alongside getting you in the theater. You have to give them a legitimate reason to sit in a place when they can do it at home. What is it that I can get out of the theaters compared to me doing it at home? I can buy my own popcorn for less of the price. I can literally go to the supermarket, buy a bunch of popcorn right now and butter for probably less of the price of me buying popcorn and butter at the stupid movie theaters. And most of the time, you could just pirate half this stuff and go watch a pirated show and call it a day. You don't need to go and buy like even the subscription anymore. You don't even have to go and buy the tickets anymore to see a movie. You can just see a pirated version of it, get your popcorn and everything, put your butter, whatever, or whatever thing what makes you enjoy snacking and watching a movie. You can do the same thing at home with your loved ones. You can do it with your girl and get some ass at the end, or you can just do it with your family and just sit there and just watch TV. What is it? You get the Toon popcorn buckets. That's the only thing they have, like the buckets that have like a theme going on with extra butter. Theaters, you can do that too. You can probably do that too. But like it's just weird.
Millions of dollars as far as these superstars. The superstar isn't even a thing anymore.
No, yeah, the idea, like I think it was Harrison Ford who said it. I think it was Harrison Ford. He said it himself. He said the idea of the superstar is dead. That a superstar's name was good enough to get people in theaters now, back then. But now it doesn't, because you don't have to, because they had that awe of like, oh, you're a superstar, I really like you, whether you're good at that movie or you're good looking or whatever the reason may be. That is dead now because Twitter's existence exists. Because you can now tweet at your favorite celebrity for whatever reason, whether they're reading it or not, or their PR person's on it, the fact that you feel like you're talking to your favorite celebrity is the reason why most people don't care for the celebrity anymore. Because, like, just say Jim Carrey makes a hot take that doesn't really vibe with the rest of society. That used to work back in the 80s, 90s, even the 70s, because you didn't have to have fear about being canceled unless you did something extremely heinous. Not having a hot take, but did something like you killed a bunch of children, put them on your house, and then killed a bunch of women, and then, ate some men or something like that. That was enough for you to get canceled, right? But, like, now, if you say about the whole, like, gender thing, you're going to be canceled almost immediately. Now, that doesn't work anymore now. But I'm saying back then, like 5 or 6 years ago, that would get you, like, literally, like, canceled, whether you was a celebrity or just a janitor or, just even a kid, right? So that is dead. It's extremely sad. It is extremely sad. So, like, this is why the idea of the celebrity is dead. Because celebrities used to have that mysteriousness to them. Whether there was a mysterious person, per se, or they was a little outspoken, but they usually kept things on the hush, or kept things extremely conservative because they don't want to give too much of what the movie is about, or who they are as a person. Now, they are propagated to, or propped up to give their opinion. That's why you can have people come up to Hassan, who's an idiot, and say, "Hey, Hassan, something's going on in the Middle East. Are you not going to talk about it?" Now people goes up to, like, celebrities like a YouTuber, a TikToker, or something like that, and asks them, "Are you going to talk about something that's going on that has nothing to do with you?" And if you don't say yes to that particular thing that happened back 4 years ago, oh my God, you're for that thing. You're an evil person. You need to be canceled. You need to stop your money from happening. So if you refuse to talk about something that had nothing to do with you whatsoever, whether you was a celebrity, a e-celebrity, or some type of, like, person with a little status, oh my God. Serve it from Fate. Serve it from like Fate Stay Night. But, like, yeah, that's how it was. That was, but things are different now because I guess Elon Musk kind of broke that to a degree. So the assassins.
But seriously, from the creative aspect, people are afraid of now you have Netflix maybe in control of one of these, like as if that prevents everybody else from creating. It does not. This is the one thing that I don't envy of the Japanese, but the Japanese, at least at minimum, are a working example of this. These guys who will create these. Oh, it's not just Japan; it's South Koreans as well. Even the Chinese in some case. Well, they're creating these properties that didn't exist any before. Yeah, they may have, they've like shonen stuff. A lot of that stuff is very similar. But you look at, like, Demon Slayer.
I'm just gonna be clear for you guys. This is not a human girl. This is okay, bro. This is not a human girl. My client wanted me to make a furry. It's, I think. Oh, is it considered furry? Yeah, aardvark, some type of aardvark girl, like, with bandages around her breasts, and, like, I guess she comes with a sword, like those bamboo sticks. It's supposed to be pretty much anime like focus, but for some odd reason they want me to draw a character with aardvark face. So if you're wondering why is her face looking like she's getting morphed, that's the reason. I just made a human face because it makes it easier to figure out where everything's going. So if you're wondering why she's looking like that, that's why.
Jujutsu Kaisen, and right now they got this whole K-pop Demon Hunters thing, and all these various properties, solo leveling.
Good enough.
These are properties that were created within the last 10 years, for the most part. So they can keep churning this stuff out. It will be the equivalent of the Japanese only relying on Astro Boy to hold up the entire industry, and that's not what they do.
No, but this is where the problem comes in as well. Yes, they have their solo levelings and your Demon Slayers, and these are different properties from an Astro Boy or a Goku or like or whatever anime property can think of right now, or even like a Devilman. The reason why those properties don't have to be propped up all the time is because the people don't get extremely butthurt over characters that don't exist and have to make them real all the time. That's the problem. The Japanese actually like the idea of running away to a fantasy world and being creative. The Westerners want everything that's fantasy based to be realistic. It's like when everything in the 2010s was super hyper realistic for no reason, for every graphic, for every video game that came out, it had to be super realism. You know what I'm saying? That's where the problem came in. Everything has to be realistic. It has to somehow parallel life all the time. It has to be in the same runnings with something that is currently happening in real life somewhere down the line. And that's where all these properties that are made in the West suck, because they're usually referring to something that's happening in real life that no one cares for or don't want to deal with. That's why. That's why the Japanese can write, or the Koreans can write whatever they want, whether it's something extremely heinous or something extremely wholesome, because they don't have to worry about being canceled, because their people have to make everything real. Sucks. Yes, this is why the isekai thing is such a money bag, even though it's the most overplayed thing, because it's a perfect example that every adult doesn't want to live their regular adult life. They want to go and run away from their problems and be isekai to a different world and start life all over again in a better body, better looking, better everything. They can have powers, they can be better, they can be in a better position. You know what I'm saying? That's what that truly is, right? That's why the Japanese and the East and even the Chinese can write and make very compelling shows and be expressive and creative, while the West has to adhere to stupid checkboxes about people's orientation. This is exactly what Reaper pointed out in that Witcher movie. 1 minute the women are being oppressed, because they're women and they're being treated like second-class citizens. But in the other hand, in the same universe, the people who are of a different orientation that dresses like women is perfectly propagated, perfectly fine in positions of power. That makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. He pointed that out perfectly, and these people don't even realize what they wrote makes no sense. This is exactly why no one likes the new Fairy Fairy Odd Parents show. I think it's canceled now. I think it's done. But like the Fairy Odd Parents show with the new chick and the new character in that, and they just throw the rules out the window. Remember the rules from Fairy Odd Parents? There was a form of rules they had to set within the show so the show can get to point A and point B with stakes, or some form of like restriction so there's some form of like beginning to end to what episodes actually had any meaning, even the movies. Now, when they threw the rules out the window with Timmy and that chick, it didn't matter anymore. She was the perfect example of what a girl boss was without being a girl boss. She was a Mary Sue of Mary Sues. She can do everything right, but she deserves to have fairies. She like it doesn't make any sense. But because it was just the IP now, it doesn't matter. Yeah, there was a new one with a black girl and I think something like that. But the other one I'm referring to is the one with Timmy and that chick. I forgot her name. So it's like, but she's perfect in him in every ways, but she has fairy odd parents. This is the same why Marvel's in the same situation. They make every woman perfect, or they make them super smart. They can't do no wrong, and if they do something wrong, they get a resolve of their problems. But with men, they're either stupid, incompetent, or they're just depowered, or they're dead. Just to propagate the woman next to them. It makes no sense.
Yes, Dragon Ball is massive and international, and arguably the most popular sort of anime and manga franchise of all time, as far as an international sense is concerned. That may be true, and One Piece is up there as well, and those have been around for a very long time. But you look at all those other properties and that are relatively new, and we're not sitting here like, well, if those guys don't sell, the big dogs don't sell, or this company has control of them, it's all over. Why did we stop creating? And I'm asking that question more metaphorically to really say, or not metaphorically, rhetorically, excuse me, to really just say and emphasize the fact that there is nothing inherently
because Hollywood is hijacked by pro-activists and insane mental illness people. That's why. Who don't buy the product, who has no money, who is extremely Marxist, they have nothing going on in life. So they just replace everything that they want to happen into your shows. And then when you tell them no, they get mad and try to cancel you and harass you and threaten you. And then they threaten everyone. So yes, that's the real reason why we stopped making, because people are scared, or at least most of the companies are scared to upset the activists that they propagated and gave a voice in the slightest, who end up writing your He-Man or your Witcher 3 for an insane feminist woman who wants to write her fan fiction that was not that great.
Incorrect about that. If anything, it should light a fire under all these creators as well as the supporters of those creators, especially those of you that have been mindful of the quote-unquote culture war and where things are at. You should have known long before now that there should have been an incentive to get out there and create new things that are backed by a more like modern economic model, and as well as owned by a bunch of hacks that despise, I don't know, half the voting population just because they didn't support the guy that they believe that they should support. That's all stuff that's going to need to happen from a creative standpoint. If we're going to move to the future towards a better, more prosperous, like creative industry anyway, it's not going to rest on Warner or Netflix or any of these guys. So let's assume that it did go through and they do end up having control. And let's say they keep the theatrical releases limited and therefore it's just streaming. So what? Why can't we not create new properties? If you're worried about the physical media, why can't we create new properties that get followings, that we create physical media based on those properties? And sure, they might not be multi-billion-dollar properties, but they can be very, very successful. I own $1 million property of myself, of my own. It can happen. It can be done. Why are we sitting here relying on these dinosaurs? It's something that I understand the cultural influence that they have. What I don't understand is those that recognize how dangerous it is when these types of folks control it don't understand the answer. Rather,
then what needs to happen is, I think what they need to do is oversupply with a bunch of studios so the activists can't get to all of them. Because if there's like 10 major studios that makes most of the content, if there's 40 or 60 major studios that's making I don't say major, but all indie, but they're all making bangers, it makes it very difficult for activists to get to all of them. They can't infiltrate all of them. It's harder to infiltrate 100 places than just 10. You see how I'm getting with this? So if there's more of them, the likelihood they're not going to follow each other because there's only like 10 of them. Like if you mentioned all the major studios that make most of the content, that's about 10 or 50 of them. 15. That's a small number. But if there's like 40 or 80 of them independently making their own, not adhering to what Hollywood wants, then you break the activist chokehold over everything. You break the mental illness and you break their because they can't get to all of them. And if they're small studios, they don't have to adhere to no shareholder or anything like that. So if they write or make an anime or a show that is offensive, you don't have to worry about getting canceled because their supporters who like that stuff will support them from Jump Street. They're not gonna stop supporting them. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how it seems like because there's too many of them being too scared. If there's all of them, because most of these activists and these mental illness people don't have any real power or pull. And most people are sick of them anyway. So like,
to combating that is not begging for it to be broken up or begging for the right guy, hoping and wishing that the right guy gives you more so pats on the head and acknowledge you as customers. It's just create the better tomorrow, like your grandfathers did.
I get what you're saying, but then again, that's gonna take some time. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna finish this off. I don't know if Fox is still here. I'm pretty sure Fox will be here tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. What time is it? It's 7:58. We was gonna play game, but I decided not to because like I don't think anyone's gonna be in the mood for that. I think everyone's in a tired mood. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'll see you guys in a bit. We did pretty good work today with the animation a little bit. We're getting closer as we go. So it's like, let me see. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. There we go. So it would be like 1, 2, 3. See how it moves? I think that's a good way of just looking at it. There we go. All right, Larry, guys. Oh, Fox, you're still here. Fox. I'm gonna work on it tomorrow. If you're still here, is this close to what you want? I'm not totally sure. Is this what you're close? Is this close to what you want? You said you wanted to be a art. Was that aardvark? Right? I hope he's still here. I'll wait till he responds. I want to make sure I'm on the right path here. I don't want to draw this and then it's wrong and then I just waste all that time. Okay. Just making sure. All right, so I'm going to make the head a little bit more smaller. I don't think it should be that big. Let me grab this. Hello. About to jump out. There we go. There we go. All right, have a great night, guys. I'll let you guys go. I'm going to continue this tomorrow and finish this off and then send this off to Fox. So with that said, have a great night. Keep safe. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate every last one of you. Thank you for the $50, dude. And thank you for the gifts, guys. It means a lot. And I hope this will look great for Fox. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep safe. Thank you, TikTok and YouTube. I'm out. Bye-bye, guys.